really, really good show. Really enjoyed the show that they put on. Obviously, we had that big epic match to kind of, I think, kind of say goodbye to Lola with. Lola, obviously, quite emotional after. I don't know if you saw that video, but Damian Priest coming out, embracing Lola, and very much feels like she is done. So feels like the next stop for her is going to be moving on to the main roster. So we're just going to obviously get our teeth into what this week has got. I'm not sure it'll be anything quite as dramatic, quite as epic as last week's Underground match, but let's have a look, shall we, and see what they've got on deck. So if we go over to the other screen, and we just got that little tear in again, which is there we go. Easy to fix. Let's go up here, and here it is. So, Cruz Montana and Grayson Waller are going to meet in a number one contenders match. So, it's going to be good to see Cruz Montana and Grayson Waller going at it. It'll be good to see these two kind of newcomers in a way. I know that Grayson has been around WWE for a long time, but obviously we've not been seeing him in any kind of important match. So it's going to be good to see him in action here against Cruz Montana, who is now obviously a WWE superstar coming over from TNA, formerly known as Mike Santana. Then we got Women's Speed Champion Wren going after the Women's North American title against Zaria. She won that opportunity last week. She obviously was able to survive in that speed match. I don't know what the flipping rules were. We've done it in the past where when you run out of time, we go into overtime. Last week, it just, that was it. And so now she gets this opportunity. So I don't quite understand that. I don't know if I missed something where they said there was not going to be overtime or whatever. To be honest, I'm not even convinced they know of the rules, because I'm pretty sure the rules just change as per whatever they need it to be. So sometimes if we go the distance in a speed match, we do overtime. Sometimes we don't. And last week we didn't. And it meant that Wren gets this opportunity against Zaria. Then we got Shawn Spears and Lizzy Rain. They're teaming up to take on Niko and Izzi. So, obviously, we saw a backstage segment that led to that match last week. Saquon throws down with Dion, again, backstage segment last week, setting up this match. Lucien Price taking on Lexis King. So, Lucien was kind of saying, well, Bronco's gone off to, try and better himself. Well, I'm going to have my plan B as a single star, because Bronco obviously is in the AAA group. So I like that. I like the fact that we're doing a little story there about how one tag partner's gone off to do something on his own. And now the other tag partner's like, well, if you're going to do something on your own, I'll do something on my own. And so that's how we got to that match. And then, of course, Mason, Rook, Cam, Hendrix. This is two real up-and-comers in NXT. So looking forward to kind of seeing them two in action. I like Mason Rook. I think he's a really good talent. Obviously, he came in with a wave of excitement. WWE not very good at capitalizing on those waves of excitement. I think that has kind of settled down a little bit now, unfortunately. But I suppose, this is where the real work starts, as they, really start digging into what can he do, what does he need to learn, putting him onto TV, putting him in some feuds. So on. So, I mean, it looks all right. It looks like it's going to be fine. It maybe doesn't have the excitement of last week's Underground match, championship match, but that's probably the one, isn't it? Grayson Waller taking on Cruz Montana in a number one contenders match. Let's jump back over and see where people are. Daze, Monday Night Raw, NXT. Brian, shout out to you. Nathan said, my day was nuts. A few weeks ago, we had a tornado in Chicago, where I live, and it happened again. Well, Nathan, hope that you're staying safe, buds. I don't think I've ever heard of tornadoes in Chicago. Normally tend to hear them down in Florida or that sort of East Coast. But yeah, I don't actually think I've ever heard of them being in Chicago. Is that normal? Or is that strange? It strikes me as strange. But saying that, we've had tornadoes here in the UK. They're very rare. I mean, I've only ever heard of a handful in my life. in the UK. Obviously, they're big news when they happen. I mean, maybe they happen in the countryside and they just don't really get reported. But I mean, there's been a few times where they've hit like towns and cities, whatever, but very, very rare. But I wonder if these weird weather sort of anomalies are going to start showing themselves a bit more now, what with, you know, kind of how dramatic the weather's getting. Don't know. Jared, shout out to you, buds. Jared said, hello, friend. Let's talk Raw. Okay. I don't see Solo joining the Bloodline because Jay cheated to need help. WWE would be silly to turn Solo heel when he's so over. Braun should walk out of the vision. He doesn't fit anymore. Jared, love it. Thank you for the support, Jared. And I'm totally here to talk Raw and get stuck into a few things. We don't see Solo joining the Bloodline. I would agree with that. The only thing I would say is I don't think WWE are stupid to the point where they don't understand what they've got. I think whenever they do find something that's working, I think they're probably more guilty of milking it until it stops being fun, like Danhausen. I don't think they're guilty of just like ignoring it, right? So when it comes to Solo, I think they know what they've got. I mean, he opened the show, came down to the ring, kind of in with the crowds, kind of doing all the stuff, the pew pew, ducking down, is everyone okay? All of that kind of stuff, right? So I think they know what they've got, and they put him in the main event of Raw as well. So it's not like we're screaming at them like, no, this is fun. We like the way that he's acting. We like this character, and they're not seeing it, and he's sat in catering or anything. Like, he opened the show, he was all over the show, he was backstage, he was in the main event. The big cliffhanger, the big ending thing was him losing the match, which was a surprise. And so it's going to move the story forward now to the next chapter. And that next chapter is either going to be that he's going to stand up for himself and say, no, you cheated, you know, you couldn't get it done without Jimmy, and go down that path. Or it's going to be a case that he's going to join the Bloodline and he's going to, you know, make their lives live in hell, which I actually think would be fun if that's what he did. Because at the moment he's out on his own and he's just, you know, I mean, he even said, didn't he, to Royce Keys has been murked. He was even reaching out to LA Knight. LA Knight made it very clear, listen, I had a great time in at SummerSlam, but that's that. We're done. I mean, really, Solo doesn't have anyone to turn to. So if WWE have thought to themselves, let's bring him back in the group, but let's make him a troublemaker. Let's make it so that, you know, he's there because he has to be, because it's family, but he's going to goof on them all. If you think about it, Sammy got so over when he was the comedy character in Bloodline. He was so over because people, and Bloodline, I think, is missing that. I think Bloodline is missing that comedy character like Sammy, because I think you do need that kind of point of difference. So I'm not saying that he should go in. I'm not saying that, you know, you put him in the Bloodline, but I'm just saying that if he does go in, I actually personally don't think it'll be a disaster, because I look at the OG Bloodline, I look at what Sammy brought to the table, and I think for many people that was the best version of the Bloodline. Was, you know, Jay trying to keep it together because of Uzi, and Sammy trying to make everyone corpse, and, you know, he's backstage doing a little dance. Even Roman laughed in one of the segments where, you know, Sammy was talking about getting into people's minds, getting into people's heads, playing mind games. He's like, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to get into their heads, I'm going to do a little dance like this. And Roman was like, had to turn away. And I think those segments just get so well received by people. And I think that that's certainly an element that's missing from this. So I've seen a real backlash today of people being really angry. Like, there's do you know what surprises me is like the amount of anger that there is when it comes to like the booking. There's like real anger that's out there. I don't know if it's always been this way or if it's something's gone south. I'm not sure, but a lot of goodwill has gone. A lot of goodwill has gone. A lot of like joy is gone. Like, love of wrestling, joy of wrestling, goodwill, all of that. It's gone out the window. There's a lot of anger towards just booking, but it's crazy because there's a lot of anger to a story we don't even know where it's going. And I don't even think it's going to massively matter which way it goes. If he joins the Bloodline, he is not a dead character. He is this version of Sammy, who was, probably one of the best parts of the old Bloodline because he really was that point of difference. If they keep him on the outside, that's fine. He is going to struggle on his own. But then there's another story to be told there, isn't there? So I think that the solo stuff is really interesting. I can't wait to see what they do with it next week. And there's a lot of people saying they're done with Bloodline sucks and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't feel that way. I really don't mind the Bloodline story. It's not as good as last time because I don't think that we've got all the elements of last time, and maybe Solo could be that missing element. So, yeah, I think that it's being compared to like one of the most successful things in WWE history, which is also crazy because Bloodline obviously brought a real boom periods. And yeah, we've gone back to it because we've tried a load of stuff that hasn't worked. And so we're trying to go back to Bloodline to make that work so that we can sort of hit the refresh, the restart. And I think it's okay. I don't think it's as good. None of it makes me angry. And actually, I'm quite interested to see where we go with Solo personally. So, yeah, I'm interested to see. Yeah, no, it'd be silly to turn him heel. I don't see that happening. I think he could join the group and goof around and, they'll ask him to cheat and he ain't gonna, I'm in your group, but I ain't gonna be cheating for you and whatever, Yeah, I could see him being at ringside as like Jay is trying to win a match and, Solo's like, so you're going to win this on your own, yeah? And Jay's like, yeah, of course. Gets in there, loses. I could see Solo at ringside just laughing his head off. Just laughing his head off at the fact that Jay's lost the match. But yeah, he's part of Bloodline, I think there's stuff you can do. There's room to move there. In regards to Braun walking out of the Vision, yeah, he should. I mean, obviously but I think what they're doing right now is working as well. I'm not down on that because I think everyone can see that Braun has got different priorities. I mean, you've got Maxine and Theory just all over each other. Braun Breaker just staring into the distance. I actually really like that contrast. I really like how silly and just, pointless what Theory and Maxine are doing. They're just into each other and they're just around each other and they're all loved up, right? And so they're just like happy and doing their thing. And I just love how Braun Breaker is just not engaging with that. There's no small talk. There's no niceties. He's just not even engaging. It's like they're not there. It's kind of like mentally he's already left the group. Physically he's there. Mentally he's already gone. I kind of like it because I think it's intriguing. Because he's going, mentally he's not there. He's going up to Paul Heyman on his own, going, do you really think Ober's the future? I mean, to all intents and purposes, he has left, Physically, he came walking down like a mile behind them. Then he was over by the commentary table staring off into the distance. The only time he smiled is when Ober came out. And as we said, that's because this is what he wants. He ain't doing really anything with the Vision apart from just standing there and thinking of Ober. So I don't mind that contrast. I don't mind him sort of having checked out mentally of the group. The next step will be for him to just physically leave the group, but I don't mind him doing what he's doing. So, yeah, I don't know. I saw, like, obviously I do the opinion videos, and there's a lot of people that had a lot of anger. Not anger, but it was like, it sucked. This was really poor. It was atrocious. And it's like, I wasn't getting that. Well, I wasn't getting that. I didn't get that from the Solo story. People I know are worried that we're now going to ruin Solo. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't think they will. I would say WWE are guilty of milking something dry. If something works, they just milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it until it doesn't work anymore. I don't think that they abandon Solo as a face, even if they put him in the bloodline. What I do think's more likely to happen is that you'll hear pew pew so many times that you'll be like, Jesus. And there'll be shirts and caps, and it'll probably be like the start of his music, you know? Pew pew! Bum, 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 or whatever, right? And then out comes Solo. Like, they'll go OTT with it. OTT. I wouldn't even be shocked if there was a little gun that you fired and a little flag came out that unraveled and went pew pew. A Solo Sokoa little toy plastic gun. Because they just milk things dry, don't they? So I'm not worried about Solo. I think Bron's in a good place as well. I actually think he's doing some of the most interesting work I've seen Bron do. I think there was some good stuff on Raw. I gave it 6.5 because I do think the in-ring was still underwhelming. And I think that's definitely continuing to be the area that could be improved. But even saying that, we still had a really fun opening match with Penta and Laredo Kids. And the shock of the main event, the match itself wasn't very good between Solo and Jay, but the results was quite shocking. But not in a month for Sundays did I think that it was going to go that way. And as I said, it just kind of leaves a cliffhanger for next week. So them's my thoughts. Jared, what are you thinking? Don't super chat, but just what are people thinking? King Gamer said, what's the difference between a wrestler being over and a wrestler being a draw? If we gave LA Knight the world title, can we honestly say that fans would pay for him over the bloodline, said King Gamer. Well, listen, I mean, honestly, if WWE really believed that that was the right way forward, they would have done it. So I don't believe there's a conspiracy theory or anything along those lines. I think that they obviously are looking at numbers that we don't have access to. If you look at the Google trends, which we did the other day, actually, Roman is just a million miles ahead of anyone else. You know, LA Knight, Cody, CM Punk, Roman is just, a million miles ahead. Bloodline is his group. So I think it's really difficult to make an argument that they should have gone LA Knight instead of Bloodline and Roman, when Roman really is a needle mover. I mean, he really is the number one guy in the whole industry of professional wrestling. You can put anyone from any company up against Roman, his numbers are better. His Google searches, Google trends worldwide are greater. He is the biggest star in the biggest company. He is the guy. And listen, in time of emergency, break glass. We've said before, we can't sit here and keep talking about how the creative is so poor and about how they're getting that wrong, they're getting that wrong, ticket prices are too high. You can't have ticket prices doing that and creative engagement doing that without at some point hitting a real iceberg. And I think they've hit it. I think they've hit the iceberg. I think, the fact that they did probably, I didn't see the final number, but it felt like it was less than 40,000 for SummerSlam. And obviously we know in the week or two before, those prices went down to $25. So in the week or two before. So for me, it's a case of we've hit the iceberg. Water's coming in, right? The boat is not sinking, but it's definitely not in the best of health. And we have got to find a way forward. Someone somewhere has said, put the belt on Liv, put the belt on Rhea, get the bloodline back together, dial back on the Vision, get the belt on CM Punk, continue building over. And this has been the strategy of steady the ship, right? Steady the ship. And I don't think steadying the ship involves putting a world title on LA Knight. LA Knight's numbers have him knocking on the main event door, but not being an absolute bona fide main event. His numbers are not comparable to CM Punk or to Cody Rhodes. So, LA Knight is someone that's got potential. LA Knight is someone that if you gave him the ball, you remember when Roman had the WWE Championship and we put the world title onto Damian, and we had a little go with putting that world heavyweight title on Jay. I think that was the opportunity right then to actually give LA Knight a go. I can't explain as to why we didn't give him a look. The only thing I can say is we went with other people, and that is what it comes down to sometimes. So Damian, I believe, was because of the Latin America market. Obviously, we got AAA. We're obviously seeing a real battleground there between WWE and AEW. WWE want to win that battle in Mexico. They want to be the biggest player in Mexico. They want to be the biggest player all over the world. In order to help them there, I think the feeling was, let's try and build up Damian Priest. You know, he's obviously a big Latin American wrestler. He's got a really good following down there. Not long ago, obviously had a match with Bad Bunny. And, you know, they kind of tried to use that to build his profile. He's a big guy. He's someone that I think they feel is quite marketable. And again, it comes down to, do you want to take option A or do you want to take option B? And I'm telling you, someone in that room at head offices decided that because of Latin America, because of the fact that Damian has got that background, we're going to give that a go because we know that Mexico is an important battleground. We know that South America is a growing market. And look at what we're doing now. We're doing a tour in South America. We've purchased AAA. We're obviously doing shows down there. We're doing crossover shows. Got Worlds Collide coming up. AEW have gone down there. They've just done a Dynamite. They've got obviously a big relationship with CMLL. It really is where the battleground is right now for me in wrestling, is Mexico, and by extension Latin America. So I feel like the opportunity for LA Knight was probably around that time, and I think he missed out to Damian for that reason. And Jay just got super over. I mean, Jay, obviously the yeet in. I mean, it was clear to see the momentum he had at that time. And so, you know, he was shifting a lot of yeet glasses. He was shifting a lot of the shirts. He just got red hot. And I think they looked at it and went, he's really connected. It's certainly with the younger demographic. He's obviously got the big yeet thing in the crowd, coming through the crowd. It's a great visual. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a look. Didn't work. I've got a feeling I think they had a feeling it was not going to work before they put the belt on him. I think that they were hoping that it would click, and it didn't. And we quite quickly moved on from that. And then really, you know, after that, it's hard now because Roman's going to have one belt to build him up for, say, Ober. And then on the other side, you've got, you know, Cody, CM Punk, Sammy being in the mix. Drew was around. How do you get LA Knight into that pot? I mean, I would not be down on if LA Knight were Money in the Bank. I've said that before. Give him Money in the Bank and he can then cash in. And that might be like the best way of just getting the ball rolling. But if he was younger, and I've said this before, but if he was younger, I really believe they would have given him more of an opportunity than he's had so far. But, you know, he's pretty close to knocking on the door to 44. There was a tweet that went around. So I don't know if I did respond to it. But this is the kind of thing people are saying, and they're not wrong to be saying it, right? But this is the tweet here. So does WWE have a major problem coming? In 2025, the average age of the main event talent, this was last year, was 41 and a half. The average age of the main event talent in the year 2000 was 32.3. So, you know, I responded to that by saying that, yeah, I mean, I agree with this person here. Not really. You're comparing like that year with that year. It's a bit of a reach. Conditioning is a lot better now. And I would agree with that. You know, it's no problem. Wrestlers look after themselves better. They can go to, as we always say, mid-40s now. I feel quite comfortable that you can get to 45, 46 quite comfortable. So, I mean, I would say that a lot of this talent has got like 4 or 5 years, some even more if you look at Gunther. You know, Seth Rollins being, 40 now? This was last year, so add an extra year on. But like Gunther, 38, Seth Rollins, 40, Drew McIntyre, 41, Kevin Owens, 42, Jey Uso, 40. You know, I think we're looking at a lot of talent that's got like 4 or 5 years. So I don't think there's a major problem. And as I've said here, Ober, Braun, Trick, Jacob's still quite young, actually. Javon, Carmelo, Dirty Dom, Solo, obviously now finding a groove. You know, we've got that talent coming through. We got talent down in NXT like Cruz, Montana. We've got people like Tony, who might be able to achieve some. Ethan Page. You know, there's other people that are coming through. So, I mean, one thing we're not short of is wrestlers. We're not struggling in that department, and we do have some names that were coming through. So yeah, look, we've got to invest in that younger talent. This again, it's just a sad reality about the fact that LA Knight is 44, and you know, if you look at that age, and you know, you look at the kind of questions that are being asked here. As I said, I don't think it's a problem. It's not like, oh my God, can they not see what's happening? Like, I think what went wrong last year was we tried to build new stars and we failed. I think that was part of the problem. So now we're just going through a period of like, let's steady the ship. Let's get the foundation solid. We'll build from here. Just like we're doing with Braun. I think actually what we're doing with Braun right now is one of the best ways we've built him. I love the fact that he's looking at Ober. And I love the fact he's thinking, how do I bring him down? I mean, he is really thinking a lot about Ober. And I really like that. I like that. It's actually not like Braun to do that. He's very reactionary. He's very kind of in the moment. He's very explosive. So to actually see him stop and pause and think kind of makes it stand out a little bit, doesn't it? That is really like, you know, chewing these things over, really thinking about these things. And yeah, I'm kind of into the way we're presenting him. I think it's better than just shoving him in the vision. So yeah, lots to kind of talk about there, lots to get your teeth into. But I just think LA Knight is a victim of joining WWE quite late. I think he's a victim of not kind of when he got called up being pictured or seen as being of that level. You know, that's not the role they brought him in to do. He then got himself over. It's a very crowded main event scene that he's then battling against. Could they have pulled the trigger on him at certain points? Yeah, it would be silly to say that, you know, they've never had an opportunity to do it. They have. But I think equally it's not unfair to say that there's always been an alternative option. You know, WWE's just got so many wrestlers. It's got so much talent. I mean, the roster is stacked. It is a really great roster. So someone somewhere has to make that decision. Many of you would have made a different decision. But again, lots to dig into there. Rapture said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Street Profits return now. I've seen photos of Bianca and her family wearing matching clothes with the baby, said Rapturous. Let's go down. Zombie said, did you see the rumors online of WWE management not being happy with Dom's comments about creative? No, I didn't. I could understand them not being happy with those comments because, you know, anything that's going to criticize the company is probably going to upset someone, isn't it? If you criticize WWE and you work for WWE, that's obviously going to be a very dangerous place to be because you are criticizing your bosses. It'd be like working for flipping, I don't know, Walmart and publicly speaking out about Walmart and the way they treat the employees. So I can't say I would be surprised that you've probably upset someone somewhere. But equally, you know, if he feels, I don't even know where it's come from. I mean, I don't know if it's come out of an interview or if it was just like, you know, friends of Dominic are saying that he's frustrated or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure where it came from. But, I mean, to my knowledge, he didn't come out and say anything in an interview, you know? I mean, he's allowed to feel frustration. I think understandably so as well when you look at, like, you know, the way he's being used. I think he's being used in a way that probably made more sense like a year or so ago. But actually, now with all the work he's done in AAA, I think he's under the impression that he's now gone to maybe like a different level than where he was before. So, you know, this happens a lot, doesn't it? You know, you start to feel that you're getting some momentum, whatever, and you don't feel like the creative is kind of capitalizing on it or reflecting it, you know, and that's a frustration many people have had. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it if I was Dominic. I would be interested to know how it came out though, if I was Dominic, because I don't think he like did an interview, so that might be something worth looking at. Bruce said, I think the Bloodline will take all the titles in WWE and Naomi will win the women's title and then she'll join the Bloodline and then Zilla will win the AAA title, says Bruce. Benito said, Daze, hope you're doing well. Big Cass keeps attacking cruiserweights because it brings back PTSD of him teaming with Enzo. A few weeks later, Enzo returns to feud with him. Their feud was all right, actually. I didn't hate their feuds, but it was, I didn't hate their feud, but it was probably the only thing of that either of them did that I was interested in once that team broke up. So Streets are saying that Enzo will come back and they'll join back together, but to be honest, I haven't heard anything on that front in quite a while. Jared said, I'm thinking regarding Brom, it's not the vision that he was in. It's not even the vision anymore that he was in. Reed is out and Seth is gone. Paul is gone. And now it's just Theory, Logan, Maxine goofing around. Yeah. He mentally, as we say, is checked out. I mean, he could just walk away, but I mean, they've got tag titles. So, you know, there's if anything else, there's that reason, isn't there, to stay? Because there is some gold there. That's but even with that gold, he's still not interested. He's still absolutely zoned out backstage. But I like the contrast. I sort of like, you know, Theory and Maxine being all loved up and being like all happy and everything, and then like over the other side, you've just got Bronze staring into the distance, just thinking of Oba. I kind of feel like they bring the energy, they bring the contrast to him. If they weren't there, it would just be him staring in the distance. And after a while, it might just start feeling a bit like the Johnny Plankin thing, you know? I think that they bring a bit of much needed energy actually to those moments. And then he contrasts it, which makes him stand out a little bit more. And that's why I'm just not really down on it. You can take him out, but does that make anything better? I don't think so. I think mentally he's checked out anyway. Frankie said, it's weird though. I don't know anyone that's actually a Roman Reigns fan. Oh, there's loads. See loads online. Although some of those could be bots, of course. James, hello. Hope you're doing well, buds. Hope the day's treating you well. DJ G Money said, Roman, or when Jimmy comes back, it's always required numbers or backup. The only time in his career he was actually winning matches was solo back on NXT in the first run when he joined up with the original Bloodline. If you take away interference, he can't get it done one-on-one. Facts are facts. I don't know who we're talking about there. We talk about Roman. I don't know if we're talking about Roman or Solo. If we're talking about Roman, then obviously he got it done against Punk. He got it done against... I mean, he's having a good year this year, actually. Don't think there was outside interference in the Jacob match. Don't think there was outside interference at Mania or SummerSlam. And all of those matches have been very highly rated. You might be talking about Solo, though. Which is interesting because it does feel like there is still a missing piece of the puzzle with Solo. Solo, yeah, I would agree, like, is not someone that tends to get good, credible singles wins, which is a real shame considering where he was a few years ago. So I probably shouldn't have been that surprised that he lost to Jay, but then saying that, I don't have a high opinion of Jay. Like, I would still expect Solo to get the better of Jay. So Solo is in an interesting place where he's babyface. He's doing some really fun stuff. People obviously like it because there's been a reaction to the fact that he might now turn heel and go in the bloodline. There's been a big reaction to that, negative reaction. So that's good in the sense of it shows that people care. And Solo is someone that I think is going to be absolutely fine. Yeah. Rightfully or wrongfully, I do believe that the Raw creative team know what they've got with Solo. I think that Raw creative team has shown themselves to be okay this year. Not brilliant, but better than last year. And there was a few changes, as we said. And actually, I think Raw since Mania has been strong. It had an off week on the go home for SummerSlam. I think there was maybe an off week before that. I thought this week was all right. I thought this week was more than acceptable. I found it engaging. I found it entertaining. I found it humorous at times. I thought there was some good action. I thought there was a story weave throughout the show. It set up next week's episodes. Like, there was some decent segments like Becky and Stephanie, which, you know, I didn't hate. Some people saying there's a real lack of star power now. Maybe it could, you know, maybe it could have done with an extra star being on there. I don't disagree with that. There was obviously no Seth or Roman, Punk, Cody. They're all over on SmackDown. Kevin Owens has come back. He's over on SmackDown. So, you know, I mean, we open and close the show with Solo and Jay. We do get Becky in the middle of the show. Obviously, you've got the Judgment Day around, like Liv, whatever. But yeah, I'm probably not in a disagreement there. It's a lot of like Penta or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not down on it. I actually thought the show was okay. Could have been stronger. Some of the matches could have been better. But yeah, we'll have to see what's next for Solo. Jared said, I think Becky is a tweener at best. Yeah, she's hard to read, isn't she, at the moment? Or at least I think she is. I think she is. She's hard to read because we've only seen a couple of segments. She hasn't really done anything to be a heel, apart from come back and, you know, go after the title and not step aside for Stephanie. I mean, she maybe could have done that, but I'm actually okay with her not doing that. I'm actually okay with her coming back and saying, I want that belt, you know, because she's been away from it for quite a while now. You know, she came back, didn't she, to be Lyra's partner, turned on Lyra after WrestleMania the other year, got involved with the Intercontinental Championship, ended up carrying that for quite a long time. She's been kept away from that top title for a fair bit. Obviously, people will say, oh, we need to build new stars and everything, but Becky's still got lots to give. Do you know what I mean? I do feel like wrestling fans are very, very quick to put people into retirement. They're very, very quick to just move on, want something new, when Becky is just setting the bar. She's so entertaining with her promos. I mean, she cooked Liv the other week. I think she's a really good wrestler. I think she's a really good promo. I sort of don't disagree with the WWE approach of if you want that spot, then you've got to be better than what's there. And I would say, is there a woman that's better at a promo and as consistent in ring as what Becky is? If the answer is yes, then I'd say that's very exciting because that's great. Let's go. But I'm not sure that there is. I think that she really is setting a very, very high bar. She's very entertaining on the microphone. Very entertaining on the microphone. Very consistent with her matches. If you have a look at like the ratings that she picks up for her matches, they're normally there or thereabouts on a very consistent, regular basis. She feels like a big star because of everything she's achieved as well. I think she's got that sort of X factor. And I think we can all be in agreement that, you know, when everything's done, Becky will be in the top 5 women in the history of WWE. Maybe for some of you, it'll be top 10. But I mean, she is of that importance. And yeah, you know, I'm a fan of kind of where we are with her and what we're doing. I think she's come back. She hasn't really done anything heelish. You can make the argument she hasn't really done anything babyface either. I think you're probably right. I think she can be whatever. You know, if she's going to get into it with Stephanie, then she can lean into being a heel. If she's going to get into it with Liv, then she can lean a little bit more into being a babyface. So she can be adaptable at the moment. but she's kind of feuding with Stephanie and still not really doing anything heelish. So I'll say tweener at the moment, but I'm leaning towards her being a little bit more face than heel, because I just don't have anything to say she's a heel. So I'll agree, tweener, but leaning towards her being face unless I see some otherwise at the moment. But adaptable, yeah. Interesting, Jared. Interesting. Some good stuff there. Appreciate the chat. Monkey says Penta. More Triple H. Like he lost at SummerSlam. Now he's gonna fight Roman. It's brain frying or Sir Baby assassinating, says Monkey says. You're not a fan how Penta's being used? I think he will win this tournament. I think he will get a shot at the championship. I think he will fall short. But I don't know. Him winning this tournament, surely that would be a good thing. Jared said, the reason I said tweener is because of her saying to Stephanie she hasn't done anything with the title. That's a bit heelish, but not totally, says Jared. I think she's just standing her ground. It's a little bit like how you have CM Punk and Cody saying stuff to each other. You know, like two faces saying those kinds of things. Look at Kevin and CM Punk the other day and some of the stuff they were saying. I think unless she's going to really cross a line, make it really personal, and, you know, kind of bring her family into it or something like that, or go off on the fans, things along those lines. I mean, do you remember when she came out in Birmingham and she was like, the best thing about this place is dead now, because it was not long after Ozzy had passed, and that caused a lot of controversy. You know, that's obviously the kind of heel line that makes you go, oh my God. But, like, yeah, I think her saying to Stephanie, like, you had the belt, you didn't do anything with it. I think that's, as you said, probably just part of the builds. I would not, that's not crazy for a babyface to say to a babyface for me. But, yeah, I mean, I think she can be a bit of a tweener, because I think she can certainly lean into being, like, you know, more of a face when she's in front of, say, Liv. But we'll have to see. I've only seen her a couple of times at the moment. Casey, hello, said, I've sent you Jeebus and my email for tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be good, Casey. I don't know if you saw, but yesterday I was asking the members for questions. So I've managed to just jot a few of those down. It's nothing too probing or anything, but I think it'd be good to kind of structure it where we do, I don't know, like 10 big questions that probably have got, like, you know, some answers that can be dug into, and then like some 10 quick fire ones. Obviously we've not done it before, so time wise I'm not sure how long. I mean, we'll just go for whatever, you know. I know one thing that we won't struggle to do is, you know, have conversation. We've obviously spoke many times, so it'd be quite good actually to start this with Casey and Jeebus. Very comfortable, obviously, with talking with those guys. Comfortable talking with anyone, but yeah, for this being like the first one, so we can work out the structure of it, like, it'll be good. So yeah, I'm going to actually prep that tonight, make sure we've got some good questions, probably like 10 longer ones, 10 quick fire ones, take it from there. So Casey, it's going to be good. We'll do that on the members side tomorrow. Carl said, do we think AAA is the best WWE show at the moment? Yeah, maybe, probably. I think it's got the best action. I'd say that. I think the fact that it's only an hour is obviously a little bit of a barrier, because it means that, you know, things can move quite slow at times, and you don't, like, you know, El Grande, for example. Haven't seen him in a little while. Kind of know that he's building towards a title match, but like, you can tune in and he won't be on the show, and there won't be any development with that story. The Psycho Circus story is quite slow as well. Again, it's just sort of rumbling along in the background. So I think it is good, and I think it's worth tuning in for the wrestling. And I think there's a bit of a story there. But does it have as much going on as, say, like Raw and SmackDown? You know, has it got like as many talking points as those shows. Like, if you was only going to watch one show, would that be the show that you would choose? I think if you care about your in-ring, the answer is undeniably yes. If you want a faster pace of story, more characters, a bigger universe, more things happening, then it might not be the promotion for you. So I think it's brilliant. I don't think we need to worry about if it's like the best. I would definitely say it's the best in regards to in-ring. I'd definitely say that. In regards to story, yeah, I mean, obviously the whole mass versus mass story was fantastic. Now we've got this new group that's arrived, which is okay. That's okay. And we're just doing some stuff and it's ticking over. I mean, it's just worth tuning into, isn't it? It's a great show. So a difficult one to answer, to be honest, because I think it really depends what you're looking for. DJG said we all need to take it by the can. No one can be shot. The last time Solo big match being on the roster himself was against John Cena. Are we going back to Solo about how he can't do it by himself? Daze, don't you think AAA is really helping WWE? Yeah, I think AAA is a brilliant show. I got nothing but praise for AAA, but I'm aware there'll be people that won't watch it, and so won't be watching it, and so I don't really want to sell them something that I don't think is true. I think it's well worth watching. I think it's a brilliant show. I think some of my favourite matches have took place there, like Mass versus Mask. I even think Flammer Bailey was one of the best women's matches that I've seen. And, you know, if we was to compile a top 20, I'm sure a good chunk would come from AAA. So I think if it's in-ring that you're interested in, then brilliant. And I think you can point to the Mass versus Mass story as being a massive success. I think that was all brilliant. Worked really well for Chads. Worked really well for Ludwig. But again, like if you're into Pagano or you're into Mr. Iguana, like if you're into Octagon or whoever, right? You can go weeks and weeks without seeing these people. You can go weeks and weeks without much development with that story because they're limited by the fact they've only got an hour. I don't mind that because it's how NXT used to be. It's brilliant. But I think if you're someone that loves, do you know what I mean, the aura of Roman and all this sort of stuff, like, and you want a story that's going to run every week, I don't know. I don't know if AAA would work for you. I think you'd love the in-ring, but I think the limitations of the fact the show is only an hour might actually be a bit of a down for you. So I think it's got its pros and its cons, and I think that it's a brilliant show that's well worth watching. But I don't feel the need to sit here and just, you know, say it's incredible, it's amazing, it's mind-blowing and all that sort of stuff, when I think there are some cons to it as well that you can highlight. I think the fact it's only an hour, the stories move very, very slow. And, you know, you can tune in and watch 3 matches and, you know, see a story develop. But, you know, you'll have to wait the week after for the other story to develop. And as I said, if you're an El Grande fan, you could go 2-3 weeks without seeing him. Same with Dominic. You know, he's not on the show every week and he's their top champion. If that was the case with Raw or SmackDown, people would be in outrage. You know, and I've said this before, this is when people are talking about, like, should Undertaker book Raw and SmackDown? It's like, yeah, okay. But, you know, you've got to appreciate then that you can't complain if certain people aren't shown every week. So at the moment, there's lots of complaints that there's no Jordan Grace, there's no Julia, people like that. There's loads of AAA wrestlers that don't get used every week on AAA. But no one complains about that because the show itself is really good. So I don't know. It's such a different entity. I suppose that's what it's coming down to, isn't it? It's so different because it's only an hour that it's so hard to compare, isn't it, to Raw and SmackDown? They're doing different things. So is it a great show? Absolutely. Is the wrestling amongst the best? Absolutely. Should it be part of your weekly diet? Yeah, if you can find room for it. Absolutely. I think it is hard though to compare to what Raw and SmackDown does. It is different. It's different to NXT, to be honest. Big Time said, I was listening to Alvarez talking about the age thing. Lance Storm countered and said, you've got to justify the salaries. You've got AEW and they don't want to recreate the mistakes from WCW. Well, yeah, they have to justify salaries. Yeah, I don't think that's unfair. I think that you've got a lot of older superstars that are getting paid a lot of money. And if you stop using them, then, you know, they're getting paid to, you know, sit in a mid-card. So it's a good point, a fair point. It's not the kind of thing that I think wrestling fans would want to hear. And I also think that, you know, there's obviously going to be examples of like a Sheamus that was at top or quite high up the cards. Miz, who obviously has been world champion a few times and has been ever present. You know, there are examples there of people that have had success but have found themselves naturally slipping down the card. So I mean, it does happen. I wouldn't say that it's like, I think it's a really good point, and I think it's something that should be taken into consideration. But I also think that you naturally do see people kind of slipping back down as well. So it keeps them up there, but it's not. It's not like, you know, it's not the reason as to why. I think if the numbers weren't there, then they would start slipping down. But I think genuinely, they're there because the numbers are there. You know, it's not, Cody's not up there because the money is being paid. And same with like Drew and all these people. They're there because the numbers they're generating are amongst the biggest. They are justifying that position on the card, you know? So as a result, they're in that position and they're getting paid accordingly. If their numbers start to slip and the engagement in that character starts to slip, this is where maybe you start to see TKO having those difficult conversations, and this is where you start seeing like pay being cut and all that sort of stuff, you know. But I think it's a really good point, because if you just sign someone like Bayley is obviously going through a thing with her contract, if she signs a new deal and it's going to be like 2 million and she's around for 5 years, and it's 2 million a year, and that puts her at the top end of the women, TKO are going to expect a return on that. They're going to expect, you know, why did we sign her for that much money if you're just going to have her sat in catering? So, you know, you're going to have to use her. So I think it is a good point, honestly. I think it is a good point. But equally, if those numbers start to dip, then we've seen how WWE deal with that. James said, if they don't become dangerous to themselves or their opponents, then age shouldn't come into it. That's my opinion, said James. Yeah, it's a fair opinion. I think like in WWE, it's difficult because you never quite know when the drop-off is going to happen. And I suppose the same is true in football. So, for example, if you bought a player that was like 33 and he joined Man United, and, you know, you spent 50 million on him, understandably, there's going to be conversations around how long is he going to be on top for? I mean, you could sign Harry Kane right now. Harry Kane, obviously one of the best strikers in the world, you know, is, you know, potentially in the running for the Ballon d'Or, and he's actually 33. He's turned 33 now. Now, historically, that is obviously an age where you've had the bulk of your career. And at this point, you know, the pace, the pressure of the Premier League, certainly the physicality of the Premier League, you would be thinking, I just don't know what we're going to get out of Harry Kane. 2 years. Mentally, you might not even really think about it, but mentally you are doing those kinds of maths. As a Man United fan, you'd be thinking, okay, 33, 50 million. I reckon we get 2 years, 3 years out of him. It's probably going to be like, I don't know, 17 million a year that we're going to have just spent on Harry Kane. Is he going to justify a 17 million a year transfer fee? Or should we have gone for some young emerging talent that's 22, where we know that that's going to cost us 50 million? He's not proven. He's doing well, but not, you know, hit his stride yet. But 22, I'm going to get 10 years, 12 years out of him. And I think this is where WWE kind of comes in with that. So LA Knight, for example, you look at the work he's doing and you look at how good he is now at the age of 44, coming up to 44, and you look at like his connection with the audience, and it's like, yeah, it's good. But are you going to put the belt on him? Are you going to give him a run with the title and give him main events and give him spots instead of giving them to Bron Breakker, or instead of giving them to Trick Williams, or instead of giving them to Obafemi? Are you going to go with LA Knight because you believe... I mean, it's a business, so you've got to be thinking about what return are you going to get. I know people don't like to think about that, but that is the truth. It is a business, and WWE are trying to get the biggest return they can on the superstars they've got. So like someone like LA Knight, 44, doing well, maybe 2 years. At some point, it's going to start declining. At some point, the body is going to start not being able to keep up. You know, he's had a tough career, long career. The effects on the body are sure to show at some point, but there's no way of knowing when it's going to happen. He might have 5 years. We don't know. He could have 2. He could have 3. He could have flipping, what's Jericho? You know, you could have 10. I don't know. It's so hard to say. So I think this is where, you know, decisions have to be made. I don't know necessarily that there is a right or wrong in this occasion. I think it just comes down to perspective, opinion. It just comes down to what you want to do. I can understand WWE looking at this situation and thinking, let's go with, if we've got to start bringing some talent in now because we're worried about Punk, we're worried about Cody, we're worried about Roman, you know, they're in their 40s. We got to start getting some 30-year-olds in there. I understand us pulling the trigger with Braun, pulling the trigger with Oba, pulling the trigger with Trick. I understand it. That's not crazy to me. Pulling the trigger on a 44-year-old LA Knight, you could understand there being a conversation around that. It's maybe not the conversation the fans are having, but you could understand that conversation being had at WWE. Like, is this really the right thing to do? I mean, I'm at the point where I think you do it, but you do it for him and you do it for his fans, because so many people want it. And I think he's worked so hard towards it that I think it's the right thing to do. Is that, you know, a money in the bank, a cash in, that moment, this is for you, this is for the work, this is for your fans, here's the moment, right? I don't know that you're necessarily doing it for the business. You might end up hitting the jackpot and he ends up having 5 good years after, and you could get 5 good years out of him or 3 good years out of him at being at the top, you know? So, I mean, you might hit the jackpot with it, but equally it might be that, you know, you start seeing a bit of a decline, the work's not as good, whatever it might be. So, yeah, I think James is right in the sense of if they're still good enough, you go with them. But there just is that kind of issue of, yeah, but when do they stop being good enough? When does the drop-off occur? When is it that we start seeing the decline? You know, when are they less explosive? When does the cardio start to fail? When do a few more mistakes come in, or certainly like injuries start cropping up? And you just don't know. I don't know. What I do know is I don't think 41, 42, 43, I don't think they're the same age as they used to be. If a wrestler was 41, 42, 43, you thought it was a minor miracle that, you know, they were still competing. I remember Wrestle with Andy telling us that when Bob Backlund came back, he was in his early 40s, and they were treating him like an old man in WWE at the time, in the 90s. They were treating him like he was, you know, ancient, like he needed a blooming stair lift to get into the ring because, you know, he was in his early 40s. And, you know, I think we're a long way removed from that. A long way removed from that. So, yeah, he was, I'm just checking, in 1993, he was the same age, Bob Backlund was the same age as what LA Knight is now. And in 1993, they were treating him like he was an old man because he had already had a run with the belt in the late 70s, early 80s. and now here he was coming back in 1993, going into 94, to try and win the championship. And they were treating it like he was, this fossil. So there is a bit of a stigma, isn't there, when you sort of get to this age? But I think we're in a very different place now. Very, very different. I think with nutrition and workout regime and medical advances and all these kind of things, like, I think you're really, really comfortable much, much later into your career. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were still legends that were still going into their 70s. I'm not sure of the quality of the work, and I certainly don't think there would have been your Terry Funks would not have been at the top end of WWE, around, like, having runs with world titles, whatever. But, there was still plenty of those old-timers that still had that passion, still did indie shows going into their 50s, 60s, 70s sometimes. So, it is possible to keep going and going and going, but the quality of the work, it does start to decline. Most wrestlers know when to hang it up, says James. Yeah. The body tells them, doesn't it? AJ said he knew. AJ knew. He couldn't go on anymore. It was too difficult for him. Everything was giving out. When he gave up, he was 48. 48 when he gave up. So, LA Knight, AJ Styles 48, LA Knight 44. Could you get another 4 years out of him? Maybe. It's just everyone's different, aren't they? As you say, it's just you're dealing with the unknowns. But I can understand WWE being hesitant, and I can understand them looking at the landscape. I can understand a load of people in a boardroom trying to talk about what is our best option to move forwards, what is the right direction. I think LA Knight's name is going to have come up many, many times. And, they've just not gone with that option up until this point. Could he get it at some point? I really think he can. I don't think the door is closed for him. I'm struggling to see him having like that big run and being the top guy for an extended period of time. I'm struggling to see that, but I could see him having the belt. I think he could get his moment, definitely. I'm 39, so it's not too late for me, said James. James, you're in your prime. This is your prime. Right, this is as good as it gets, James, for you. Get them boots on. Get in that ring. Pick up the phone to Shawn Michaels and NXT. Tell them that you're on your way. That would be so good for our community. That would be so much fun. Monkey said, I bet they can write off the SummerSlam empty seats as like a tax write-off if they want to. Do a 2-day empty show. Then who gets fired? Well, I mean, I think that there's obviously a lot to kind of dissect there. I think that is the iceberg. I think that is the wake-up call. And not just for WWE, but for all of us. That, this is not in a great place. This is struggling. I mean, they struggled to do 40,000, and I think that kind of last year, SummerSlam, they did 50,000. So, I mean, it's 10,000 down on last year. And we know that there's high gas prices and cost of living, travel, tourism down in America. We know there's extra challenges. It's not just WWE. But I don't think we can say that, WWE can't take any of the blame. I'm not sure as to how much affected the tickets compared to WWE's underwhelming creative. But I mean, we spent most of 2025 criticizing what we were watching and saying that it was not good enough. And the start of 2026. And as I said, for me, post-WrestleMania is when I really started to feel there was some green shoots coming through. And I think SummerSlam did a good job. And I think that the episodes we've had after have been pretty well received as well. So I feel like I feel like we're in a healthier place. I think we're in genuinely a stronger place. There are things happening on the shows that I like. There are things happening on the shows that I care about and I want to see where they're going, right? So I think there's some decent things that are happening, but yeah, you look at like where WWE are right now. You look at the negativity online. You look at the, I don't know, some of the anger, some of the not it's anger at like booking decisions, anger at like, are they so stupid that they're about to ruin Solo and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't share that. I don't feel that. I'm worried. I'm worried that the joy of wrestling has really gone. I don't know if it's just what the algorithm is showing me. I don't know if it's just what I'm being served, but I'm just, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I want to find a group of people that like are passionate and you know, excited. I mean, you don't have to be if you're not, but like, I don't know, man. I don't like the endless negativity. It's not fun. I'm not having fun. It's not fun. Like, I don't get where the fun is. Just like, oh, they're gonna ruin Solo and all this guy. You see, I looked at the Solo thing and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because I didn't expect that to happen. And Roman's on the show next week, and that's going to set up a big segment. That's how I took it. But seemingly how a lot of other people took it was, this is horrific. This is the, you know, this is why when I did my thumbnail after I did the breakdown, I put the word disaster on. Because that's what I was seeing. As I was going through, like, X to try and find, like, the pictures to use for the thumbnail, I was just seeing all of this, you know, they've dropped the ball, triple fraud, Triple H is an idiot, all this sort of stuff. And it's like, wow, I am really, really out of sync. I am really out of sync with where people are. But then I don't know that that's a bad thing, honestly. I think like it's probably a good thing because I've done a lot of sitting here and being really down and negative. But now the product has got a bit better, in my opinion. I kind of like the fact I'm sitting here being a bit more positive about it, and everyone else seemingly is like running around with their hair on fire. So don't get me wrong, this is not 2023, but it is not 2025. And so I'm seeing some green shoots. I'm seeing some stuff that I'm enjoying, and I'm interested to see where things go. I'm interested to see what we do with like Solo. I think it's great that he's kind of found something that's working. I really don't think we're about to abandon it. I really don't believe that. I could be proven wrong, and then maybe I'll be the one that's like taken to social media going, I can't believe they've ruined Solo, blah, blah, blah. Perhaps everyone else is just better at looking into the future than I am. But I think the Raw creative team have been pretty good at showing that they know what they're doing since the creative team changes. And he either joins the group and he's going to be a problem, a funny problem for them, or he's going to stand up for himself and he's going to get like a let's go Solo hero kind of pop, you know, for standing up for himself. I don't know. I don't know what they've got up their sleeve, but I'm very interested to find out. Tony says, I get this is your bread and butter and you rely on the company for YouTube. Everyone who runs a channel relies on the company for their living, but you have to stop, says Tony. Tony, shout out to you. I think I'm pleased that you've brought that up, actually, because I could understand why people would think that. What I would say, though, is that it was not a problem for me in 2025, 2026. We were as critical as anyone. This has got absolutely nothing to do. I think it's a real shame if you listen to what I say about how I am enjoying the product more now, and you just dismiss it because you think that I'm only saying that because of worrying about the channel. Because actually, we were very critical throughout 2025. I was down on John Cena's heel run. I was certainly down earlier this year when they brought Pat in. And I've been down on Pat a lot throughout his time in WWE. I've been down on celebrities being involved. I was down on the booking of the Wyatt Six. I was down on the Vision and the way the Vision were booked. Don't make the mistake. It's not my problem. But don't make the mistake of just dismissing what I'm saying because you think I've got an ulterior motive. I don't need one. This channel's fine. I don't need to be praising WWE. I've just done months and months, probably about 18 months of being critical to WWE, and the channel's absolutely fine. It's still here and growing. We've got more subs than we've ever had. So I don't need to worry about that. I'm in a very fortunate position where I can just be truthful. I can be up on WWE. I can be down on WWE. I have no affiliation with WWE. In fact, there's a channel called The United Stand, and they are a Manchester United YouTube channel, and they have been accused of being very, very negative towards Manchester United, even though they are a Man United fan channel. And people have said to them, you're only negative because it's brilliant for your views. You're only negative because you know that it's going to drive engagement. People are going to respond to what you say. They're going to share your clips. And they've come out and said, no, we're negative because we haven't won the Premier League in like 13 years. That's why we're negative. We're negative because we can't even get into the Champions League. We can't even get into that. It's got nothing to do with trying. So it's so funny that you should say that, because I've actually heard people accusing YouTube channels of the exact opposite, which is you're only down on it because it's good for your views. And yet your point is you're only high on it because apparently it's good for the views. Truth is, it makes no difference. Don't matter if you're up on it. Don't matter if you're down on it. Don't make no difference whatsoever. So I'm glad you raised it, because I'm sure there's probably some other people that are thinking that way. Truth is, it doesn't make any difference. So for me, I genuinely see the green shoots. I like what Solo is doing. I think you can see that he's popular. I think you can see that he's over. I think Oba has been a big arrival this year. I think that's good. I think we've seen improvements with Raw, and we've seen the Raw ratings for the shows improve. You can actually go over to the Wrestling Daze Opinions channel, and you can actually look at all the scores for every Raw and every SmackDown. If you have a look at all of them and look at where the scores are right now, compare them to where they were, you'll see they're in a healthier place. You can do the same work on Cage Match as well, where you'll see that the Raw scores are in a healthier place than where they were 2025, early 2026. There are improvements. There are things that are getting better. There are numbers that I can point to that show that things are getting better. And we said this before SummerSlam, and then I think SummerSlam just delivered a really good weekend. I think SummerSlam genuinely delivered a really good event. I really enjoyed Roman against Seth. We said and wondered, would it get a 5-star rating? This was live during the match. I hadn't seen anyone else's thoughts. And Dave Meltzer, who famously is not a big fan of WWE, doesn't give them 5-star ratings, gave Roman Seth 4.75. And so, you know, there is some good things that are going on at the moment, but there is just a lot of negativity that's out there as well. There's a lot of people out there that I think have got themselves into a rut, have got themselves into a headspace where unless something really dramatic happens, they're not going to be able to get out of it. I think they've got themselves into this kind of negativity vortex. And unless something really seismic happens, like The Rock comes back or Shane tries to take control of the company, any little improvements are not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough for them. You know, they need something much bigger than that. I think that's a shame. I can understand it. I still think it's a shame. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone wants to watch these shows and enjoy them. And, you know, enjoy wrestling and enjoy watching the WWE product that we've been watching for decades and decades. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to say that I'm finding the product to be better than it was a little while ago. So, yeah, I'm glad that was raised. As I said, gives us an opportunity to address it. Shiny Wizards, hello, shout out to you. Chris said, that's where I am now totally out of the IWC with the negativity and the Zilla going to the main roster stuff because he's left hog wrestling. Appreciate the work, says Chris. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. And to be honest, I think, you know, there's times where we've contributed to it. I think that I was in that space as well. I mean, it's hard when you're watching show after show and you're really struggling to find a match that was good or even a segment that, you was into, you get excited for Cody Randy and then bang, they chuck Pat McAfee in, stuff like this. Or you get excited for the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia and the biggest surprise you get is Brie Bella. This is a Saudi Arabian Royal Rumble where they built a stadium. They built a stadium from scratch. And yet the biggest surprise you get is Brie Bella. I think La Parker was there as well. Royce Keys came out, Royce Keys, who wasn't even the biggest of stars in AEW as Powerhouse Hobbs. He absolutely could have come in and just gone to the top end of NXT. Instead, they put him straight into the Rumble. Got no reaction. And this is like, you kind of, I don't want to say you get your hopes up because you shouldn't, but I don't know, man. A Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia when you've heard they've spent more money on it than they normally do and they've built a stadium for it and you think, yeah, then, the Saudi deal's coming up next year. They're definitely going to want to give them something good so that they renegotiate. You kind of tell yourself these little things and then you sort of get let down, And as I said, the Cody Randy story and it's like, who's on the phone and bang, Pat McAfee and you're like, what the... Do you know what I mean? I was so down on that feud then. I was seriously considering not even watching the match at WrestleMania. I was so annoyed about it that I was even like, should I just in protest get up and walk away during the match? That's mentally where I was. Actually thinking, should I in protest just not even watch that night one main event? Because I don't care. It's funny because there was people saying, you don't understand. You don't understand. The Rock has put him up to this. It's going to be revealed at Mania that it's The Rock that actually was behind Pat coming in. They're saying it's TKO that want Pat involved. Who's on the TKO board? The Rock. Who's got unfinished business with Cody? The Rock. I had people saying this to me and they weren't crazy. They weren't crazy. You could understand that they're trying to make it work, but it's like it's not worth the pain. It's not worth the pain of Pat being on the being involved just for The Rock to come walking out. So I was like, even if that happens, I'm not interested. And I was ready to get up and walk away. I was ready to just whatever. We ended up sticking with it. Thankfully, they took Pat and Jelly Roll out very, very early. Match was okay. I think the damage was done. Pat comes running down, doesn't he? Starts counting as if he's an official referee and all this nonsense. Just wow me up a treat. Wow me up a treat. So, we've had to suffer all this nonsense. And as we said, we've kind of been very critical of it. I'm in a thrilled place right now where I can look at Kevin Owens and CM Punk and go, I'm really interested in that. And I can look at Randy and Cody and go, do you know what? I feel like I might get the feud I wanted earlier this year. I'm really interested in that. And I can look over at Chad's winning the Intercontinental Championship. Shame it was off Penta. I thought Penta was doing a good job, but Chad's done it. And now let's have a look, shall we? This is the Chad we've always wanted. This is a Chad that's being treated seriously, that's got a mid-card title, that's going to give everything he's got to make this work. Let's go. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Not down on that. Ober's doing a great job as well. There is reasons to be cheerful. In the words of, I think that was Ian Jury. I value truth above all, said Andrew, and I get the truth from you, Daze, and the community, says Andrew. Yeah, that's why I was quite happy to answer that question, just because I do think there'll be people out there that think that, because I can understand it. Do you know what I mean? I can understand it. I really can. I'm not even down on the question being asked. I can really understand it because I would imagine that there is that mentality that's out there. All I can say is I assure you it makes absolutely no difference to this channel. If I'm down and negative, then I think the community might change a little bit, and I think we actually start to attract some more of those kind of negative folk that are out there and are struggling. Because, listen, if you love WWE and you just can't bring yourself to stop and you're just really down about things at the moment, if you watch me saying that you think that I think things are improving, you're probably not going to stick around, and that's fine. My attitude might actually be driving people away. The irony. So, you're going to go to a place where people feel the same as you so that you can rant and get things off your chest and all of that. So, for me, if we go negative, which, we might have to if the shows get worse, then I think that will be reflected within the community, because anyone that shares those views will obviously express those views. If we're being a bit more positive, that will be reflected in the community. Anyone that's feeling like they're seeing some green shoots, they'll share those views as well. If there's people here that don't agree with me and they want to share the opposing opinion, I've got time for that. Absolutely. I've got time for that. It's not a problem. I don't need this to be an echo chamber. I don't need it to be a case where I look in the chat and everyone's just agreeing with every single word that I say. Like, I get that it's not perfect, and I also get that it is impossible to have a community of people that are all going to think and feel the exact same way. It's just not going to be possible, because we're all going to have different opinions. What's your opinion about LA Knight? Should he have the title? I could do a poll now. It won't be 100% in either direction. How do you feel about them putting the belt back on Roman? How do you feel about the bloodline getting such a big focus? All of these questions are going to be like 70-30, 80-20, 60-40. We're all going to have slightly different opinions on things. So no, it's good. I think the most important thing is to be honest about what we're seeing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling. And I'll continue to do that. I was down on it when I was, down on it. I'm a bit higher on it now. I'm not madly in love with where we are. I don't think this is God's gift to wrestling. I don't think this is a boom period. I don't think this is going to be a period that is going to be up there with the Attitude Era or anything like that. I do think it's better than last year. I don't think it's as good as 2023. I do think it's better than 2019. I do think it's better than the pandemic. I think that it is something we can build on. And that's the way I would look at it. I think it's something we can build on. I just hope that there are others that, feel that way, because it is a concern seeing the fact that there's so much negativity that's out there. I suppose there's a concern that you could get into a death spiral. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get paid enough to worry about those kinds of things, But if the majority are feeling like this isn't working and we haven't done anything big enough to turn this ship around, if that's where the majority are, and I don't know that it is, but if that is where we are, well, then WWE has either got to do something really big, or it's going to be in for a bumpy few years, isn't it? It's going to be in for a bumpy ride. And it could be that. It could be that. I mean, if you think about the end of Hulkamania to the start of the Attitude Era, that was a bumpy few years. If you look at 93, 94, 95, it's not great. It's not a great period. It's a period that I've got affection for, actually, because that's when I started watching. So it's a period that I'm all right with, but I can recognize it was not Hulkamania and it was not the Attitude Era. It is very much the valley in between. So, if WWE are going through that right now, then, yeah, it might be a rough few years. But hopefully we come through, and hopefully, Bron Breaker's in a good place, Trick's in a good place, Ober's in a good place, and, we can use those and have another boom period again. If you're not peeved at the bad, you won't be aware of the goods and then enjoy it when they give it to us, said Joseph. Toby said, that's the good thing about the community, though. It's hardly total nonsense, whatever people's opinions. Bruce, shout out to you, buds. Rapture said, Daze, do we think the Vanity Project appear in AAA, even if it's just a one-off match? If so, how do we think they'd be received? I don't think they'd get a big reaction because I actually don't know when it comes to that AAA crowd how much they watch NXT and what the crossover's like. I'd imagine they probably do because they probably know there's a good chance of like people coming over. So I'd imagine that AAA crowd is probably quite smart and is not just watching Raw, SmackDown, but is watching NXT. I don't know what reaction they would get, to be honest. It might be a bit muted at first. How do I think they'd do? I think they'd be fine. Hard because, you've got such impressive performers. What can the Vanity Project bring that is going to really shine? But to be honest, I think Undertaker has hit the nail on the head. Because he was talking about the fact that there's a lack of storytelling in wrestling now in matches, and actually it's all move, which is really ironic that he's now the booker of AAA, because Lucha Libre is obviously a lot of very big moves followed by, very big moves, and it's just a lot of big moves, but there is obviously pacing and drama and kickouts, and it would be a disservice to Lucha Libre to just say it's just gymnastics and nothing but moves. But that obviously is one of its key kind of factors, if you will, the very eye-catching moveset that they employ, bigger with more springboard attacks and aerial attacks and everything. But yeah, I think like Vanity Project, they obviously wouldn't be bringing that, but they would be quite good heels at maybe slowing the match down and actually frustrating the baby faces, winding up the crowd, frustrating things so the baby face could come back and then, be the one that shines. I think when I look at Brad Baylor, I see a bit of a young Shawn Michaels in the sense that I think he really understands the importance of selling. I think he really understands the psychology of pacing of a match and varying the pace of a match. I think he knows when to go fast, hot tag, double team work with Ricky Smokes. I think they work really well as a team. They're not quite like the Rockers in the sense of, doing all this leaping over the top rope and, big drop kicks and all that sort of stuff. They don't really have the aerial attacks that we would see from the Rockers, but I think there is a real understanding of professional wrestling that they've got on a level that I think is maybe a bit deeper than the average NXT talent, because the average NXT talent is the next in line talent mixed in with some indie talent. Brad Baylor, Ricky Smokes, they came from the indies. Having watched them in Evolve, and having watched them actually have some really good tag matches in NXT, I think they do really get it. I think they really get it. I think they know that, it's not about those big moves. I think they know that it's about the pacing, frustrating the babyface, winding up the crowds, selling, bumping. They'll go flying, they'll look frazzled. The more the heel is where am I? What's going on? Kind of a thing, and big and dramatic with it. The more the baby face is shining, looking good because they're causing these problems. And I think there's a real good understanding there. So yeah, it's a really interesting one. I'd actually quite like to see it because I think them going down there, it'd be a challenge because they're not going to have the eye-catching moveset that a lot of the other performers have. But what they do have is a really good understanding of the basic fundamentals of wrestling, and I think they could actually be really good foils for a lot of the baby faces. So I think it'd make for quite a different match. I mean, obviously when you tune into AAA, as we said, it's only an hour, and you tend to just get all this action kind of, do you know what I mean, flying around, Rey Fenix, Laredo Kid, Mini Vikingo, doing things the human body shouldn't even be able to do. And all this kind of stuff. But then, you'd put Vanity Project in and you'd get some a little bit different. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I think they could actually do quite well down there. I think it'd be worth a shot, honestly. I think it'd be worth a look. They're all really young. I think it's a very interesting group that's coming through as well. I think it's a very interesting group. I wish that Jackson Drake was a bit bigger. I think he might just be lacking a little bit of presence I think it would be better, you know, if he was just that little bit bigger. It's all right for Brad Baylor, Ricky Smokes to not be, because they're going to be the guys that take the bumps. But, like, you know, Jackson Drake's the leader of the group, the single star. I think he's good. I think he's got a bright future. He does not have the size of, like, a Randy. If he was a bit taller, then, you know, you might start looking at him that way, thinking like, wow, you know, he could really do something. He was like the first Evolve champion. I never understood why they put the Evolve championship onto him, because he never really stood out. But when you actually watch him, you can see that he's really thinking about things. You can see that he's really trying to get the best match possible. And again, you know, I've seen him kind of flourish. I've seen him grow. I've seen him get very comfortable with being in WWE. I think now he's doing some really good work on NXT. I really do rate Vanity Project, yes. When you compare them to someone like the Mog Squads, you can see the difference. The Mog Squad in Evolve are kind of like the new Vanity Project, but it's just not hitting the same. Everyone needs to stop crying about the Solo return to the Bloodline. It's gonna happen. I don't want everyone to stop saying, I understand you can have an opinion, but making YouTube videos about that, you don't want it. You lose me a little bit there. I don't know what you mean, but I think it's the big talking point today, isn't it? About Solo going back to the Bloodline. Obviously, it was the big cliffhanger on Raw. So, like, it's understandable that people are, you know, going to be talking about it. I think from what I've seen, the big opinion is that people are worried that it's going to be the end of this fun Solo. I don't think it is, but we're going to have to wait and see. As I said, even if he goes back, I think WWE know what they've got. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot of people worried, concerned, expressing that concern. And as I said, you know, I think you only have to spend a few moments on X to just pick up the vibe of kind of what is being said over there. Look at what's trending. Look at what people are talking about. And it was clear to me, the end of Raw was like a flipping disaster. You know, people were really down on it all. So that's why on my thumbnail I went with the word disaster. But, you know, we covered it at the start. I'm quite positive on it. And we'll see. You know, we'll tune in next week and see what they do. Is he going to stand up to Roman? We'll find out. Chris said, would we go back to watching AEW? I've not watched it, but folks seem to say it's hot at the moment. I just don't think it's for me, said Chris. Would I go back to it? Well, I'd never say never. I think I don't feel like I need it because of a couple of reasons. It's actually nothing to do with like a hatred of AEW or anything. I don't hate AEW. But for me, you know, I grew up with WWE. I've watched it my whole life. I know there's hot periods and there's cool periods. I know there's, you know, after every boom, there's a crash. And after every crash, there's a boom. And it's kind of always been that way, right? So I suppose in a way I'm a bit more like chilled about things. This isn't out of the norm as to what's happening, right? I suppose what is a bit out of the norm, though, is just I don't remember there being this much negativity in, like, say, 2019. 2019 was a really bad year. And if I had a way of going back to Twitter from that time period, I'm sure it was as bad as what I'm seeing. I'm sure it was that negative. I just don't remember it being this bad. This really feels like, I don't know, like there's real anger that's out there. I don't know. It'd be an interesting talking point as to why. Why is there so much anger? Is it because, like, they can't believe Triple H is failing them or something? Is it that Triple H was the great hope? Triple H was meant to be the guy. And, you know, now he's kind of letting them down. Is that where the anger's coming from? I'm not sure. So, yeah, I think for me, I think you only have to have a little look online to kind of gauge the temperature. And the temperature at the moment is, you know, quite hot in the kitchen. I think for me, like, there's enough there to explore. There's enough to talk about. We never do these streams and like struggle with conversation. I think if we did AEW, what would start happening is you'd start having people come in going, listen, that's enough about WWE. Can we talk about Jungle Boy? Do you know what I mean? And these conversations would then obviously start having AEW chat in them. And actually, I kind of like the fact we're so focused on WWE. I like the fact that if you join us, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AAA, premium live events. You know what we're talking about. So I kind of like that. Whereas, you know, if we did AEW, we'd be obviously having conversations during Raw about AEW. We'd be having conversations during SmackDown about AEW. I think that then might frustrate people that just want to talk about WWE. Equally, if we sit here on a Wednesday doing AEW and, you know, people are coming in going, oh, can we talk about NXT last night? Then you're going to start having WWE conversation in an AEW stream. I mean, you can put a rule in place where it's like you don't talk about, you know, AEW on WWE, but it's still going to happen. You're still going to have people jumping in doing it, you know? So I kind of like the fact that it's clean. We know what we're here for, you know? The other thing as well is because WWE counter program AEW, you have to make a decision, don't you? Are you going to watch both shows at the same time? Are you going to prioritize one over the other? We don't have that. We watch WWE. So, you know, if All In is on and NXT is on at the same time, we're watching NXT. You know it, I know it, we all know it. You don't need to ask me, like, that's what we're doing. So I think there's like a few reasons as to why it just doesn't feel like something I need. I don't feel a need for more wrestling. I feel like I'm getting enough from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve, AAA, Sunday, Saturday night main events, premium live events, you know, the news that's happening each day. I don't feel like I need to bring more into that. I don't feel like I need to mess up the conversations where people are taking us off to talking about Persephone or taking us off to talk about, I don't know, flipping Hangman Page, right? I kind of like that we're focused. And as I said, I kind of like the fact I don't have any headaches around, you know, choosing what show we're going to watch. So there's some pretty good reasons, actually, as to why I'm not really bothered. And I just don't feel like I'm missing out. I get great matches thanks to WWE. I mean, I've seen Mask versus Mask. Obviously, I've seen Roman Seth, which I really enjoyed. I saw Roman CM Punk, which I really enjoyed. We had Bailey Flammer, which I keep talking about, but I really enjoyed that. We had Io Asuka before Asuka left, which was a really good match as well. Like, we get good matches. Maybe you get them on a more regular basis in AEW. Maybe AEW has been a stronger brand than WWE this year. I could totally believe that. But I'm satisfied. I don't really feel like I need to. So it's certainly no hatred. In fact, I've got my AEW Rebel Heart thing that I ordered, which I should be wearing, actually. So I did actually get this from AEW shop because, you know, I'm not, I don't watch AEW. I don't really care about AEW, but I think what Rebel's going through is horrific. Really horrific. Awful. I can't believe it, actually. Like, that is like, yeah, it's awful. You kind of know of these diseases, but like, I don't know, like, you just, when someone that's in the public eye gets it, and like, we were watching her, we watched AEW from 2019 through to 2023. We watched it for 4 years. And obviously she was very present during that time. She was with Britt Baker. And so, you know, I used to watch her when she was in, like, you know, AEW with Britt Baker. And to see what she's going through now is like, it was nice that Kevin mentioned her the other day, actually. He mentioned her on that post show, didn't he, for SummerSlam? That was nice. Hopefully that sort of like promoted the cause and generates money. And because I know she's kind of dedicating her time now to trying to raise money. And they've got the T-shirt, they've got the wristband thing. So, yeah, AEW shop. Go there if you want to show your support. It all raises money for that ALS disease, which, do you know what I mean? If we want to focus on something super serious in the world, it ain't is Solo going back to the bloodline. It's shiz like that. That's absolutely horrific. So, wishing her a very speedy recovery, although I know it's not something you can really recover from, but hopefully she can be comfortable and live as long a life as possible. I don't know the diagnosis in the sense of how long you have when you have ALS. I know there is no cure at the moment. It's just awful, isn't it? Awful. Imagine like having that as like a death sentence. And not only that, but like your body is kind of shutting down as time goes by. It's a death sentence where your body is shutting down as time goes by. So you can't even, like, I don't want to say you can't even enjoy your final days, but it's like, how do you face that? How do you deal with that? I have absolutely no idea. When Kevin Owens praised her for her strength, how do you even deal with that? It was nice of KO. I ordered the bracelet, said Chris. As awful as the disease is, I am hoping that she goes quickly and peacefully, says Rob. Well, we just, yeah. I mean, you just, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, what can you say? There's nothing you can say, is there? Just horrific. She's obviously not the only person that's, going through it. There are, lots of people that go through it, but it's not a disease that you really tend to see or have awareness of, or it's not something that, I think it's quite a rare disease. In fact, how rare is it? How rare is it? ALS. ALS sufferers? I don't know how to word it. It's about 1.7, 2.2 every 100,000 people. Wow, it's more than I thought, actually. It says that 1 in 400 people have got a lifetime risk of getting it. 1 in 400. 1 in 400. Men are slightly more affected than women. And apparently it's like about 2 people in every 100,000 get it each year. It's actually a lot higher than I thought. Yeah, 1 in 400. Awful. Rebels, the one with ALS, yeah. Rob said they normally find it when they're trying to diagnose other things. Then they realize what they were trying to treat was actually the symptoms. I did hear her say this, that the symptoms came on at, like, I think she said the end of 2023 or... No, did she say the end of 2024, but she didn't find out or get it diagnosed till like 2026 earlier this year? I know that from the moment the first symptom showed to the moment that she actually got it diagnosed, it was a chunk of time. Yeah. And as you say, it's probably because they're trying to treat something else or think it's something else. And then it turns out to be that. Daze, talking about The Rock, did you see he wants to enter the music business? I did. I put a little tweet out. Dwayne wants to explore a potential music career. I put a tweet out saying, how about he explores a match against Roman instead? How about he explores that? Yeah, that's what we want. I want to see him against Roman Reigns. I know that there's people out there that want to see these new stars and everything, but can we just please do that match? Can we just do Rock Roman? Because it is undeniably the biggest match that you could do in pro wrestling. I cannot think of anything else that would generate the same interest as Rock versus Roman, unless you start bringing wrestlers back to life. Rock versus, and even then, I think Rock Roman would be up there. So Rock Roman is definitely the one. I'll take Rock Cody as well. I ain't down on Rock's against CM Punk. I ain't down on Rock versus Obafemi. Right? I'll take that. I ain't down on Rock versus Bron Breakker. Be a hell of a boost for Bron Breakker. I ain't down on Rock versus Trick Williams because there could be some fun verbal exchanges. But, you know, we've got to get through a lot before we get to that. So, yeah, there's... he is exploring a music career. Apparently he's got a song out about how much he loves his family. Cool. Yeah, no, I think let's... Come on, stop faffing around now. Yeah, you've had your fun. You've made your films. Did you see the rumours about a wrestler that attacked Psycho Clown, possibly being Drake Moreau? I believe LFG, Shawn said they can do something with him. Yeah. There was a video where he got told that he was going over to AAA, and so people have sort of been waiting for him. I think there was chat messages in the chat from people saying that Drake Moreau was the person that, like, you know, they believed it was him. I don't know if they actually knew. I think there was even people saying they'd matched tattoos and everything, so I can totally believe it's him. Totally believe it's him. That's the front runner, absolutely. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you take away the fact that he's Roxanne Perez's partner, he's just a dude from the Performance Center. I mean, like, maybe he means more to people that watched LFG, but I you know, I didn't. So to me, like, it's just a PC dude. He's a PC dude that they've given a very interesting look to. Very interesting look. So don't know the name of the character. Don't know the, you know, kind of the backstory or what they're going to go with. Is he even alone? I mean, if he's taken out Psycho Circus, is he just doing that by himself, is he? Or is there a band of brothers here that's, you know, is going to lead to a big faction war? You know, maybe we see him this week, we see someone else next week. I mean, Holyfield's going down. I'm not saying that Holyfield's going to be, you know, kind of dressed up like some Wyatt family cast-off. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what they've got planned, so interesting. I agree. Interesting. Miguel said, did we hear that Enzo Fernandez is probably joining Man United's? Oh, I've not heard this news. Is that true? I'm waiting for Man United to actually make a couple more signings. Because they were meant to be getting... Arsenal set asking price for Lewis Skelly. Oh, that's okay. I'll take Lewis Skelly. I think he's a great player. I'd take Lewis Skelly. There might be better out there. I'm sure there's some people that would like Lewis Hall, but I wouldn't mind Lewis Skelly. I don't know what the number is. Don't know what the number is. Oh, according to The Guardian, Arsenal would demand a fee of about 45 million. Interesting. I've not seen anything on Enzo, but some Lewis Skelly news today by the looks of it for Man United fans, of which there's probably just me and James. Nelson said, Rock Roman should have happened instead of the Cody match at Mania. I want Roman to be the heel in the match. I want The Rock as the face. I don't want to see that match anymore, said Nelson. Oh. I can't believe people are saying the obvious Drake Moreau shaped figure is rumoured to be him. A lot of sharp online detectives out there, says Rob. TJF, hello, said, why would The Rock come back to put over his cousin when clearly The Rock is levels above Roman in the ring, on the microphone and at drawing money? Well, he'd come back for the money, wouldn't he? I mean, if you do Rock versus Roman, the biggest star of the Attitude Era, which, you know, you can argue Stone Cold's, obviously, but you can bill it as two eras colliding, can't you? It's the Attitude Era meets the current era. It's one of the biggest stars we've ever had, taking on one of the biggest stars we've ever had. It's the family dynamic. It's money. It's huge. It's the biggest match you could do. So, you know, The Rock understands that. And I think for him to come back and to do that match could be the boost that WWE need. You know, we've sat here just spending quite a bit of time saying, you know, if people are down on WWE, that's fine. You know, I mean, if that's how people are feeling, that's absolutely fine. I do worry that people get stuck into like an echo chamber where, you know, they're kind of seeing the reaction online and it's kind of influencing how they feel, you know. And I do worry that, because I see it, you know, I see it. I see, like, I watch the show with you guys, and then I go online after, and it's just this, like, stream of negativity. And it's like, oh, man, thank God I ain't watching the show this way. Thank God I'm not sat on my own with Twitter in front of me, just reading people's thoughts coming through as the show's going on. Because I'd be really down in the dumps. I'd probably be feeling the same way many people out there are feeling about things at the moment. So, yeah, I think it would be obviously the big wake-up call. It would be the big atomic bomb. It would be the big moment people are waiting for. And with The Rock being on the TKO boards, and with The Rock being, financially involved in WWE, a WWE that's struggling to hit 40,000 ticket sales for SummerSlam. Could be that injection in the arm, couldn't it? Saudi want it as well, because Saudi know how big that match would be. And so, add on to the fact that it would give WWE that boost. He would get a big payday from it as well. So, but of course he would lose because he's 50 what? Roman Reigns has just beat Cody. He's just beat Punk. He's just beat Jacob. Like, Roman is the top guy. Really, the only challenge for Roman right now, I mean, he's just beat Seth. So he hasn't beat Cody, by the way. He's beat Seth and he's beaten Punk. The only challenge for Roman would be Cody, to see how they measure up now, and Oba. That would be it, really. I can't really make an argument for anyone else. I mean, Seth was the big thorn in his side, and he dealt with him. He dealt with Punk at WrestleMania. I don't know that Gunther gets the better of Roman. I don't necessarily feel like he does. I do think that Cody, because he's had wins over Roman, would be worth revisiting, but I don't think there's the appetite for it. But so Oba is obviously the challenge, isn't it? And I think that's what they're building him for. It feels like that's where we're going. But yeah, I think Roman would obviously get the better of The Rock. I think The Rock would come back for one match. I think Roman would go over. And then I could see it being a case that Roman beats Rock and then Roman loses to Oba at SummerSlam. Ergo, Oba is better than Rock because he beat the person that beat The Rock. So it'd probably be like that sort of math, which never works. MMA math, it's called. That person beat that person. So if that person beats that person, they could also beat that person. But it doesn't work that way. Daze, who do we think will be the winner of the main event? Cruz or Grayson? It's Montana's first match, Grayson's first match back. I think it'll be Grayson. There was a little interaction between someone and Cruz. I can't remember who it was, but someone interacted with Cruz, and it made me think that that was going to be a factor this week. I don't remember anyone interacting with Grayson other than Mason Rook, who got taken out by Cam Hendrix. So I think he's busy with Cam Hendrix. So yeah, I am looking at... And I think that works a bit better because you've got Tony as the babyface, Grayson as the heel. If you do Tony against Cruz, it's sort of babyface. I think that Grayson makes more sense to be the number one contender, what with him being like this outright heel. So I think it's Grayson, but going to find out, aren't we? NXT can do some weird and wonderful things. And actually, with Cruz only just coming in, it wouldn't be that crazy for them to go with Cruz getting the win. He is like a top star that's come in. You could see probably not going to be in NXT all that long because he's been in NXT before. So, it's not like he's going to spend months and months and months here. It's not going to spend years. I mean, I think he spends the rest of this year, but I won't be shocked if Cruz Montana goes to the main roster after WrestleMania next year. I don't think he'll go up before then. He could be in the Rumble. Sometimes they put NXT talent in, although I don't think they have the past few years. So, Cruz, I'm thinking post Stand and Deliver. goes to the main roster. So, I mean, do you give him a run with the belt now? Do you give him the win tonight? He then goes up against Tony, gets the win, has a run with the title, faces Grayson further down the road. You could do it. But if I've got to choose between the two, I'm thinking it probably makes more sense to go Grayson. If Grayson wins, it means that we're going to be subject to more days with Tony as champion. Does anyone want that? Well, I want Tony to work this out. I know he hasn't quite worked it out yet, but let's see if he can work it out. Okay. I don't know much. I haven't been told a few minutes ago. Zilla has reportedly signed with WWE. I could believe that. I know they were interested. So I could believe that he signs. Zilla at the Performance Center. The belief is that he has now signed with WWE. Well, there we go. Get ready for every flipping show until he debuts to be speculation about... are you happy now? IWC. There we go. Little message to the IWC. Are you happy now? Yeah? You've got your man. He's in. He's signed. Okay. Okay, we got... Oh, yeah, last week. Zilla could show up tonight, said Corey. This will be every show now. We'll have it tonight. We'll have it tomorrow on Evolve. We'll have it on Friday. We might even get it on Saturday when we're watching UFC. To be honest, we were getting it anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. Okay, we're just seeing last week what went down in the underground. Does Zilla show up on NXT, said Jojo Girl. Well, Jojo Girl, I'm going to answer that question the same way that I'm going to always answer it. I hope so. I hope he shows up tonight. Because then the conversation is done. It's over. We don't need to keep talking about, is he showing up? Is he showing up? So, does he show up tonight? I hope so. Does he show up on Friday? I hope so. That is going to be my standard answer going forwards. Daze, didn't The Rock technically start his music career with You're Welcome with Moana, said Rapturous. I don't know that it was... I don't think that's his track, though, is it? It's a Moana film track. So, I think he's trying to start... I don't know who wrote the song, but, like... Do you know what I mean? It's not affiliated with the movie. Okay, we're just seeing last week. Here's Tony. Oh, I'm so tempted to do a video. I'm so tempted to do a video where I'm like, guys, you might not have heard of this guy, but he's going to be a big deal. You need to be aware of this guy. He's called Zilla Fatu. Zilla Fatu. And he's actually... You'll be shocked. He's part of the Anoa'i family, so he's connected with Roman. He's connected with the Usos. There's a few people online that have been saying they think he could join the bloodline, so you need to be aware of it. I might put out a video like that, just to see people in the comments freak out. We know who Zilla is. We've been asking for him for years. Zilla. That's Zilla. Zilla. He's come from Hog Wrestling. I think it's where they wrestle pigs. Oh, here's Lizzy Rain. Here's Izzy Dame. Looks like we're going to be starting with this mixed tag match. Lizzie's a bit upset. She doesn't know where Shawn Spears is. Okay. We're going to Culling then at first. Let's go. Zilla. It's going to be Zilla. You're right, buds. You're right. It's going to be Zilla, Jason. She can't do it alone. She can't do this alone. Oh, jeez. Zilla, 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 Zilla. I'm just going to write it. You're right. You've called it. It's happening. And this way, I'm not even going to have to change it, am I? Genius. Genius. He was at the Performance Center earlier today. That is literally next door. Do you understand? It is literally next door. Don't forget, he's going to return with Dean Ambrose, said, right, I'll chuck that in as well, but I'll chuck that in as well. Okay, Izzy Dame then in the ring with Niko. Can I just say, if Zilla does come out now, it will be a moment. I mean, I don't want to downplay, I know we're joking, but I don't want to downplay the fact that if Zilla does come out now, this will be a monster talking point. Okay, Lizzy Rain. Rock and roll. I thought his name was Zilla Suffering Succotash. Well, it is when he's around Roman. I think everyone's name's that when they're around Roman. Okay. Is the bell going to sound? Yeah, no bell. Gets the ropes, back elbow. Lizzy goes down. Bella sounded. Yeah, it is. It's just going to be a handicap match. Why is he not showing up? What the flip's this about? Big boot there by Izzy. Izzy charging over, colliding into Lizzy. Driving the shoulder into the midsection. Lizzy comes crashing down. And it hurts inside. Who do we think Nakamura's partner should be? I think Takahashi or a returning Rick Boogs. I think it'll be Naraku because well, I think it'll be Naraku. Someone is saying to me that he was meant to be teaming with Shinsuke originally, but then he asked to go to NXT. And I just wonder if, like, they've gone, okay, you've done your little NXT thing, right? You've got your feet in under the table. You got yourself settled. Can we do the Shinsuke thing now? So I can't shake Naraku. It's my honest answer. But yeah, there are people out there thinking Takahashi because he's meant to be coming in and we haven't seen him yet. Here's okay, tag's been made. Lizzy is in there with Niko. EK Prosper is... Oh, guys, it's not Zilla. What the flip? What the flip? I do like EK Prosper, though. He is fun. EK Prosper. EK Prosper has made his way down. Oh, I've got to take this off. EK. Well, I tell you what, if I'm Lizzy, I am livid. I wonder if Niko and Izzy, I wonder if they've actually attacked. Do you reckon they've attacked Shawn and it's going to turn out that he's actually, like, beaten up? Over in the corner, roll through. EK with a big boot. Cover. No joy. Okay, so EK in the ring right now with Niko. #1 Contenders match coming up tonight. EK coming off the ropes. Big boot coming in there by EK. Headbutt there by Niko. EK goes down. Niko with EK looking for a suplex. Got him up. EK lands on his feet. Against the ropes. Over the top. Looking for a drop kick. Niko goes down. Lizzy, kick to the midsection. Another kick coming in. Enziguri. She goes back to the corner. Looking for some chops. Chops coming in there by EK and Lizzy. They're working pretty well together, actually. Okay, kicks coming in. Yeah. Into a DDT. Down goes Izzy. Down goes Niko. Okay, Lizzy. Going against the ropes. Lizzy through the ropes. Gets caught by Izzi. Kick there by Lizzy. Lizzy going for a kick. Gets caught. She goes down on the edge of the ring. EK is watching on over the other side. Sign in the crowd said, let it rain. EK needs to be paying attention. Niko getting back up. Into the ring. I didn't love that. Into the ring steps. Lizzy Rain going hard into those ring steps. Going hard. Okay, Lizzy Rain is down. Yeah, I was just wondering, has Shawn Spears been murked, do you reckon, backstage? Is it a case that he's not abandoned Lizzy, but instead it was Izzi and Niko that were trying to make it seem like he had? Okay, we've gone to commercial break. Dean Ambrose, Zilla, Pat, Jericho. They're going to start their own faction, said Corey. Sign me up. Sign me up. Zilla, pew pew, said Jason. Pew, pew. Zilla's going to tag with Enzo. Yeah, let's go. He's going to tag with Shinsuke. We were just talking, weren't we? Who's going to team with Shinsuke? Zilla. I think Zilla's the answer to everything. Who's Danhausen's monster? Zilla. Who's Shinsuke teaming with? Zilla. Coming in as Izzy goes back to the corner. Daze, for all of Roman's matches recently, he has yet to need help with his wins. Therefore, Roman could tell Jay that since Jimmy had to help him win, there'll be a rematch and then Solo could get the win. Yeah, could do. I'd be interested if that was the approach, to be honest. Just because Roman seems to be, you know, whatever is right for the family. Seems to be kind of whatever needs to be done, get it done, you know? Like, you know, he watched Jacob beat up on Royce and basically came out and applauded it, you know? So, you know, Jimmy and Jay got the job done anyway that it needed to be done. So I think I'd be interested if Roman was to say, yeah, but you didn't do it on your own. That is kind of prioritizing Jay winning clean over Solo returning to the group, isn't he? If he sets up a rematch, then in Roman's world, it's more important that Jay wins a match clean and proves that he's good enough to do that than it is we've got Solo back. Otherwise, you just accept that Solo... You might not love how it happened. And you could say to Jay, you know, I'm glad Solo's back, but you didn't win that match. I'm going to put you up against someone else, and you've got to win this on your own. So, do you know what I mean? Like, Roman can still keep Solo in the bloodline, because they've got him now. And you can still test Jay, but you don't have to put Solo's freedom on the line. So I think if they did go down that road, I'd be sort of interested, like, why? Why have we done that? Why is Roman prioritizing the fact that Jay didn't win the match clean over the fact that he's now got Solo back in the fold? I mean, if Solo's back in the fold, you can show him a good time, can't you? The jets, the fine foods, the success that comes with having the numbers, all of that stuff, you know? You know how hard it is out there on your own, Solo. Well, you know, come back to the family. You're in with the family now. This is not meant to be a chore. This is your destiny type thing. And I'd just be really interested if he threw it away and, you know, was willing to run the risk of Solo going. Bang. But he could. I'd like to see the story. I'd like to understand the logic. Knee coming in there by Izzy. Do we think they are setting up Sammy and Johnny, with Sammy arguing with Johnny, as currently Sammy can only feud with Punk and Owens by interfering in the feud, said Rapturous. Well, I don't know if they're on a collision course or if they're going to team together. I mean, obviously there's something going on with them and has been for a while, but it's hard to know, are they heading towards a collision? Or are they heading towards a pairing? Okay, Niko just grabbing the leg there of Izzi. Step up in Zaguri. EK grabbing the leg of Niko. Kick coming in there by EK. Down goes Niko. Whoa, crucifix driver. That was smooth, mate. That was sick. That's one of the best things I've ever seen Izzy Dame do. 1, 2. Oh, kick out. Kick out there by EK. That crucifix driver was beautiful. Okay, we're going to be hearing from Kendall Gray. We got some NXT chants. Whoa, into a stunner. Stunner there by EK. Trying to make the tag over to Lizzy. No joy. EK in the corner. Big boot there by EK. Lizzy, edge of the ring. EK comes down on Niko. I think EK is going to be a really big star, isn't he, in NXT? He's got a bit of charisma about him. He's really good in the ring. Wow, Niko chucking Lizzy into Izzy. Izzy driving Lizzy down. Yeah, she was going for Thunderstruck on Niko. Ends up getting planted instead. This is awesome, is the chant. Crowd are loving it. I mean, it is pretty fun. It's a bit of a nothing tag match, but... Okay. Back elbow. Ow. Lovely. Into a cutter. Cutter there by Lizzy. Super kick there by EK. Lovely leapfrog. Whoa! Headbutt there by Lizzy. Lizzy charging over at Niko. Thunderstruck to Niko. Big knee there by EK. Niko in trouble. Is in trouble. Bang. That is nice. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think there was some good stuff in that match. I think EK and Lizzy Rain are a really fun team. Hell of a team, says Booker. Well, obviously, Lizzy is going to have some questions about where Shawn Spears was. Izzy and Niko need to figure out how the flip they've just lost, considering they spend all the time with each other. Obviously, we had new tag champs last week as well. So we're just seeing the locker room applauding them. Double champ Miles Bourne. In my opinion, this tag division is underrated. It's any place, anywhere, anybody. Anyone can get it. Tranquilo, Romeo's interested. Okay, Kendall Gray. It's going to take another week till she's cleared. I still don't know if that injury was legit or not. I think it was at work. I know she put a little video out after showing in her ear, but you couldn't see a wound. It was just red. Izzy and Niko versus Lizzy and Izzi and Niko versus Lizzy and EK. Okay, get your thoughts in. What do you think about that? Daze, there's going to be a live-action movie of Johnny Bravo. Cena's going to be Bravo. Really? That's great. That definitely is something that needs to be made. Do you know, I just watched a video whilst I was getting ready to do the members stream. I was setting things up and I had YouTube on in the background. And there was a video about Doug and about how Disney ruined Doug, the cartoon. I used to watch Doug on Nickelodeon. I don't remember it going to Disney, but it went to Disney, and there was just a thing talking about how it got ruined and why it got ruined and what they changed, and all. I was just watching that. I used to like Doug. Used to like Rocko's Modern Life, Rugrats. I didn't massively care for Rugrats, but my younger brother was more into it, and it was always on first. So, like, when I would get back from school, we would put Nickelodeon on in the UK, and there would be Rugrats, there'd be Doug. I mean, obviously, depending on the day, depending on the week, it would be a different lineup. But you'd have Rugrats, you'd have Doug, you'd have Rocko's Modern Life, you'd have Wren and Stimpy. I always found when it got to 6 o'clock, things got weird. So, do you know what I mean? When you got to 6 o'clock, it was like Wren and Stimpy would be on, and that was a weird cartoon. Or Rocko's Modern Life would be on, and that was a weird cartoon. Like, you'd have Sister, Clarissa Explains It All, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. You'd have these kinds of things on between 4 and 6, along with Rugrats, and I'm trying to think what else was on. But once you got to 6 o'clock, you had things like Are You Afraid of the Dark? You had stuff like that. And it sort of went a little bit weird, a bit strange. So sometimes I'd change the channel at that point and see what was on the other channels. Maybe I'd go Cartoon Network, where you'd find like a Johnny Bravo. I used to watch a bit of Johnny Bravo. So yeah, I was watching a program about Doug. So funny you should say that about Johnny Bravo. I probably wouldn't go to cinema for that, but I would. I feel like the reviews will be awful. I sense the reviews are going to be really poor. I'm thinking like Rotten Tomatoes 35% type range. I'd love it if it was awesome. It was like 89% or something. That'd be great. Probably won't be. I wonder if Harlem Lewis and Elijah Holyfield will be a team. And if Jasper Troy and Tate Wilder are going to be a team. Holyfield's meant to be going AAA, but you can work both, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how they use him in AAA. Doesn't always carry over, of course, into NXT. They kind of treat it different. But I did see a video the other day of him going over there. Do you remember Hey Dude? I remember Hey Arnold. That was another one. Hey Arnold. I don't remember Hey Dude. Did they show Double Dare Guts, Legend of the Hidden Temple? Can't really answer that, to be honest, because I know Legend of the Hidden Temple was a big show. Because I used to work in an entertainment store and we actually sold the box set. So I'm going to say yes, they did. But I never saw it. And I used to watch Nickelodeon every day. Unless it was on like later, like 7 or something. I mean, I never watched Nickelodeon past. Sometimes I'd watch what was on at 6. I don't think I ever got past 7 o'clock though. I mean, by that point, my parents coming back and the channels changed, So yes, I would say yes, but I never saw it. I did see Guts though. No ifs, ands, or buts. These kids have got guts. Oh, Keenan and Kel, of course. That was another one. So Guts, I definitely saw. Double Dare, again, I'm not sure. I feel like I might have seen Double Dare because it does ring a bell. Guts, definitely. With that mountain, and it had a big trophy that was in a shape of the mountain, didn't it? I went to Nickelodeon studio in Universal Studios, and that was amazing. It's gone now, but... Okay, Callie's coming out. So we were at commercial break. Here's Callie. Her top says, not your average girl. Kendall Gray's coming out here real soon. Okay, Callie wants a title shot. Kalani Jordan's coming out. If you're going to mention title shots, she's going to make her presence felt because she's never had one. This is not happening. Based on what? I pinned you in the triple threat. Okay, Kalani said she's next in line. Here's Kenzo. Dun, dun. Here's Kendall and Wren. They are singing her song, but she probably can't hear it. That ear still bandaged. You lot enjoyed that first match. Great. 62. Kendall. Let's go. Yeah, she got a contract. I did a theatre with a guy who was Shake's voice from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, said Miami Max. That's cool. I saw a few episodes of that. Sabrina is coming to Comedy Central on the 17th of August, said James. That was a classic. I always preferred Clarissa Explains It All. Same actress, obviously, but Melissa, who's a big wrestling fan, actually. Well, was. When you were in the underground, you got your ass knocked out? The NXT on the front of that contract is really big, isn't it? The logo. All right. So she's going to get her opportunity. Pick the time, pick the place. It's not time to hit the brakes. It's time to step on the gas, says Kendall. Okay, Kalani said she's not going to waste her time with these ungrateful fans. Heatwave. It's going down at Heatwave. It's going down at Heatwave. Whoa. Wren Wren ducked out the way. Kalani just hit Kendall. Wren was like, didn't you hear what she said? She said after. Right now, Kendall is down. Now they're beating up on Wren. Okay, Kendall, Kalani. So, Kalani's going to get a title opportunity. Apparently, Callie can get one after, but I don't know if we got that far. Here's Cruz. Cruz is backstage. Oh. Keanu. I like Keanu. Look at the size of him compared to Cruz. Good luck tonight. I'm trying to figure things out, said Keanu. Yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. I got way more coming. Okay, Keanu Carver. I don't know what he's done wrong, to be honest. Talking of things that are wrong, here's Dark State. Dark State making their way down to the ring. Da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum. Okay, Dark State then in the ring. This is going to be our next match. Saquon against Dion. Okay, Dark State are corny. It's funny, says Alex. Dion versus Saquon. Is that how we spell it? I'm not sure. It is now. I was worried we were going to be wearing those awful shoes again, said Spiller. I don't like this faction, said Jojo. Dark State is a vibe killer, said Robbie. Jojo Siwa, NXT WWE. Is she signed now? I mean, now they're picking up everyone, aren't they? Zilla, Jojo. Let's go. The reason I asked about Harlem, Holyfield, Jasper Tate, they were in a locker room with the rest of the tag divisions. I wonder why Hank and Tank weren't there. I don't feel like we've seen Hank and Tank in a while. I don't know if there's like an injury or anything. But, yeah, don't know. I wonder what the plans are for Dark State. It reminds me of Aces of 8, said Andrew. Dark State a step below mid, said Robbie. Kendall's ear injury is fake, said Matteo. She hit her left ear in the spot, but it's the right ear that got injured, says Matteo. Interesting. Dun, dun. Kalani still talks the exact same way in her promos, bless her, said Alex. Heatwave is looking good so far, said Shining Wizards. TJF said, don't forget Ed, and Eddie, Cow and Chicken also. But the real question is, will WWE change Zilla's name to Umaga Jr.? Well, I don't think they will, actually, because if you look at, say, Bron Breakker, they moved him away from the Steiner name. So I wonder if they'll move. I don't know. I think they'll be quite happy for him to be connected with Bloodline. So, you know, will he keep the Fatu name, same as Jacob? Although, what is Solo Sikoa's real name? Solo Sikoa's name is Joseph Yokozuna Fatu. That's his name. Joseph Yokozuna Fatu. So, we didn't stick with Joseph Fatu. We went Solo Sikoa. That's interesting, actually. Will they change it? We didn't call Solo Joseph Fatu, but we did stay with Jacob Fatu for Jacob. So will we stay with Zilla Fatu for Zilla? Or will he be Dolo Dakoa? Bolo Bakoa. He'll be Bolo Bakoa. Like Solo Sikoa. Daze, I don't know what it is with NXT, but the promo deliveries are poor. Outside of JC and Jada, if you give a live mic to Kalani, Kendall, Soul, Roxanne, I'm missing others, but it's off, says Big Time. God, it's almost like it's developmental. They're probably just going to call him Zilla, but with no last name, says Iron Sentinel. Victor said he's going to AAA and will be Hijo de Umaga. Hijo de Umaga. Alex said he'll be Zilla higher, lower. Higher, lower. That reminds me of Bruce Forsyth with play your cards right, higher, lower. Zilla higher, lower. Kalani has no mic skills and she can't work the crown in a match, said Video Watcher. Oh, crowd. Is Jojo Siwa and Fatu, said Sir William. Apparently they're both him. Yeah. Psycho Clown against Lepaka for the Roman Reigns #1 contender first round will happen on Saturday at Triple A. Okay, here's Saquon. Daze, how is it possible they've made Dark State even shizzer? Thank you, Retribution. Here's Saquon. Sugar Man. Okay. Saquon, middle of the ring, big boot coming in. We are underway with match number 2. Okay, shots coming in there by Saquon. I agree. Enough with this feud, said Suzanne. Who do you think is the most charismatic in the men's and the women's? For me, it's like Lizzy or Callie or Saquon, said Rapturous. Yeah, I mean, I think that Saquon, we don't really give him like a live mic too much. I mean, here he is just coming down, going straight into a match. I think Cruz Montana is pretty good on the microphone. I think Grayson has shown himself to be good on the microphone. I think there's a few people that can talk. Over on the women's side, it's probably a bit more challenging. Is there anyone that's really shining on the microphone on the women's side? I feel like JC was really good, but obviously she's gone now. Don't know. I think Callie can do some talking, but again, she doesn't really have loads to say. She doesn't have loads of like kill shots, does she? 1, 2, shoulder up. Jada. Yeah, Jada's good shout. Jada's got some witty lines in there. A confident delivery. Yeah, Jada's good shout. We've got Shining Wizard on the men's side, said Alex. Okay, right now we got Dion in there with Saquon. Shot coming in. Uppercut there by Dion. Saquon goes down. Angel said Zilla's going to get revealed as the leader of Dark State. Well, I think that would be received very well. Very well. All those fans that want Zilla to join Roman and the Bloodline and he goes into Dark State instead. I'm so here for that. I am so here for that. Northern Light suplex there by Dion. KO through those grenades. Kalani used them like shields, said AB. Okay, right now we got Dion in control. He's got a headlock in on Saquon. Saquon is seated at the moment. He's got quite bright ring gear, hasn't he, Saquon? I don't think I've seen him in this gear before. Right now he's being kept grounded here by Dion. He's coming back up. Knee coming into the back there by Dion. Saquon going over into the corner. Dion going into the corner. Dion against the ropes. Knee coming into the midsection. Charging over. Elbow coming in. Dion goes down. Who do we think is a future NXT Women's Champion? Well, I think Callie will get it. Can definitely see Callie getting it. I wouldn't be shocked if Lizzy Wren had a run with it as well. I think there's the women's division's in quite good health. I mean, I think Wren Sinclair is a really good wrestler. I've enjoyed her work, but maybe she just lacks a little bit that kind of makes her stand out above what is a very stacked women's division. Yeah, there's a baseball bat here that Saquon has got. Dion grabs the baseball bat. Swing and a miss. Kick coming in there by Saquon. He goes into the... he went quite hard into that commentary table. Back into the ring. Right now, Dion driving down Saquon. 1, 2, 3. So there was like distractions on the outsides. Shots coming in here by Dark State. Yeah, Dark State attacking on the outsides. Okay, Saquon gets planted. So it's a win for Dion. Nothing match, was it? Okay, we got Robert Stone speaking to Ray. What's next for NXT and AAA? Ray wants EK Prosper to be in a fatal four-way. Winner will go on to face Ray Phoenix. Le Parker. Okay. Okay. Zaria making her way out. So it's going to be Zaria Wren next. As we said, both of these could go on to get women's championships. Zaria brings something a bit different. I really do like her entrance. Don't know that we needed to spend quite as long on that conversation as what we did. But it was basically them trying to figure out a fatal four-way. Winner will go on to face Ray Phoenix. Le Parker, EK Prosper. There's 2 more to be added. And it's going to be Mr. Stone that's going to decide those. Where's Daze? Hope you're well. Do you use a Stream Deck? No, I do have one. I've got it down here. But I don't use it. It's just got the logo on and it has for years. So no, I don't use it. I mean, Stream Deck's just like you plug it into your computer, you press a button, and it'll do stuff. But I did set it up when I first had it years ago. I just never really got any use out of it, really. I mean, you can press a button, it'll make a noise. You know, it'll trigger a noise. You press the button, it'll change the backgrounds. You know, if I want to skip to, like, you know, if I want to skip to, like, a different screen, I can just, like, you know, press the button, it'll do that. And then press it back and it'll go back again type thing. But I can do it manually. I can do it here with these buttons, you know, so I don't know. I just never really found like a use that I really needed it for. But it's probably worth having, and I probably should do something with it. But not essential if you were starting streaming or something. I want to be a boxer, says William. I know basics, but I never had a shot at it. MMA is up my alley, says William. Do we think you should see Noisy Boy more, says Carl. Well, we saw him, didn't we, at the weekends? First time that I had seen him. I think that you can definitely... I'm not down on seeing more of him. So, yeah, could do. But as we said, it's difficult because with AAA, you've only got an hour. So there's lots of talent that need that TV time. So... if you're going to get an opportunity, you're going to have to knock it out of the park because everyone wants that TV time. There's only like 3 matches and maybe a segment. So everyone's competing for that TV time. Are we streaming the boxing on the 12th? I don't know. You know me, I take it a week at a time. If there's something else on that's bigger, then no. Mr. B-Light said Stone's going to add Zilla, right? Yeah, Zilla's in. Zilla's in. Of the current NXT women, which 3 or 4 do we think could be in the Rumble? I don't think they're using NXT people in Rumbles so much anymore. Let me just double check I'm correct with that. But I seem to remember that there was a real cutting down of NXT talent in Rumbles. Let's have a look. Well, there was for the men. There was no NXT talent in for the men, but there was NXT talent in for the women. So, women, you could be correct, could still feature. That was this year. What about last year? Same story. No NXT women for the men. But there was some NXT women for the women. Okay. Who do we think could be in? Well, hard to see them not going with Kendall, considering there's so much excitement around her. I think Callie can bring that explosive athleticism. I think Zaria has got, you know, a good size and presence. Jada, you know, she's going out with Jey Uso. She is one of the biggest stars, female-wise, in NXT anyway. But I'd imagine she's probably around quite a bit because of being with Jay. So I would imagine she's probably on the radar because she's around a little bit, you know. So, yeah, I could see Jada being in it. I could see Jada. I could see Callie. I could see Kendall. I could see Zaria. I think Kalani might have been in it before. I don't know that we would go Kalani. Lizzy Rain brings something different. She brings that heavy metal, which I don't think is being accommodated for. I don't think we've got anyone doing like a heavy metal vibe, heavy rock type thing. Rhea kind of leans into a bit of like, a bit of goth, doesn't she? Like with very dark kind of vibe. That's not really what Lizzy Rain's doing. She's going back to like 1980s hair metal type stuff, heavy rock kind of stuff. So you could say that she brings something a little bit different. So yeah, those would be like the names. It's basically largely the top end of the women's division where we are right now. I suppose in a way, names that I wouldn't see being in would be people like Thea Hale. I wouldn't see her being in. I wouldn't see like a Carmen Petrovic. It feels a bit too early for her. I wouldn't see her, even though she's doing some stuff with AAA, I wouldn't expect her to be featuring inside like, you know, a Rumble. So I wouldn't expect any of those. Nikita, she's like an Evolve champion. Although there was rumors that they were thinking of bringing her up, you know. I wouldn't expect her either. But you know, Ariana Gray, she seems a little bit kind of lost at the moment. So, you know, there's definitely people that I wouldn't be expecting. About 4 or 5 that I could see. Okay, they're back from commercial break. Okay, Grayson having a word with Shugars. Feel like this show has sort of lost its way a touch. Did something just flash up then? I just literally saw something flash. Did something just flash up, or was that just my computer? I can go back. I'm going to go back. Okay, Wren's coming out. Yeah, I'm just rewatching this Shugars thing because something popped up, but it might have just been a pop-up on my screen. No. Must have been my computer. Someone just popped up. Must have just been a notification. Okay, Wren is in there. I recently got Jordan Grace Topps cards, and on it, she's holding the TNA title when she was in the Rumble. Yeah, that was good. When we had some TNA people popping in. I think, I don't feel like the relationship is quite there to do it right now. It's weird, the TNA relationship. Is there anyone that we're sending over there right now? There certainly doesn't feel like there's anyone coming over. There's no one in NXT right now from TNA. So I don't know what's gone on there. I mean, I thought it was working for both. Okay, we are underway then with match number 3. This is going to be Wren taking on Zaria, and this is a great opportunity for both of these women. Wren going into the corner. Would we be surprised if Wendy was in the Rumble? I would. She's been in NXT. I think she was Tian Shaw. Yeah, but she got moved down to Evolve because they didn't feel like it was working. So, you know, I don't even know if she's classed as an NXT talent anymore. She might be classed as an Evolve talent. So I would be surprised if she was in. Well, to kick out there by Wren. Wren is battling away. Did you see that The Rock's got a new song out? I did, yes. Banger. Banger. It's my ringtone. I've added it to my favourite songs of the year. What? Boom. Okay, charging over. Shot coming in. Shoulder tackle. Against the ropes. Down goes Zaria. Double underhooks there by Wren. Zaria with a big boot. Crowd a little bit quiet here. I feel like that last match has just killed this show. Really killed the show. I feel like the opening match was so fun. And then we just did that last match and it's just really... Yeah, I mean, the crowd are just really, really quiet. Wren trying to charge over. Big boot coming in there by Zaria. Zaria with Wren. These two can cook their way to some special, though. We can get something good out of these two. Okay, right now we got Zaria. Oh, look at that. She manages to pick up Wren. Wren dangling away there, getting choked out. Zaria grabbing the hair. Picking her up again. She's got Wren. Yeah, Wren trying to battle her way out, and she does. Obviously, the championship on the line here. This match is going to take us from hour 1 into hour 2. Wren going through the corner. Down goes Zaria. Okay, commercial break then coming up. Okay. Naraku tonight, or is he on his way to SmackDown, said it's Bren again. Well, I don't think Naraku's been advertised. So, I don't think we've got Naraku around. Doesn't mean that he's on his way to SmackDown, but I do think there is a chance. Okay, we are at commercial break, by the way. Daze, who do we think will dethrone Zaria? The only women that I could see doing it is Callie or Mika or Reina. Honestly, she's not really feuding with anyone outside of Wren at the moment, is she? So I think like Lizzy could do it. I don't know that we put the top belt on Lizzy straight away. So I feel like Zaria's a heel, so you probably need a baby face. So I feel like Callie, Micah, Reina, I think they're all heels. I think I'd probably go Lizzy Rain. Zilla's doing a live stream for NXT tonight, so he's probably not going to be showing up tonight, said Wrestler. That's just to throw you off. He's doing that live stream in Gorilla. He'll be out. Main event. He'll be out. End of the show tonight. Boom. I've got some adverts, said Jarrett. Yeah, I have as well. I mean, which is really weird. I just had actual adverts, and now I've got like a countdown with graphics. I don't really know why. They've changed them as well. Before it used to be we'll be back in a minute type stuff. Now I'm seeing the Usos. In a way. Like I need to see more of that. I want to see Micah in an actual match. Never mind a title, said it's Bryn again. Do we think Birthright has been a bit of a bust so far? As though they should have already won like a mid-card or tag belt or speed belt. Well, Lexis has won a speed belt. To me, they shouldn't have gone to TNA for the titles. I think they're struggling to know what to do with the group. I mean, you've got some naturally funny people in there. I think Ariana Grace works best when she's leaning into the humor. I think you could maybe say the same for Lexis King as well. The most engaging they've been to me is when they're leaning into humor. But then I don't know if that's true for maybe Uriah Connors. Maybe it is, but I don't know. I sort of feel like the group doesn't quite know how to present itself. It's like we've put these people together and we just don't know quite how to present them. We've brought them together because they're all like second generation, apart from Stacks. And we just don't know what the vibe of the group should be. Like, I don't know. I don't really feel like there's much unity. It feels like they've been brought together for that reason, but there's not really like a unity that's there. I don't feel really anything for them. I don't think anyone really does. So yeah, I would say it's been a bust so far. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a bust forever. It just means they got to figure it out. They've got to work out the vibe. They need to get involved in some good stories, of course. I mean, creative is always going to be a barrier. But you can't say they've not had opportunity. They've been on TV. They've had promo time. They've had matches. And we can sit here and say it still has not grabbed us. So they've had opportunity. You got to maximize your minutes. That is what Chelsea does so well. She could have 20 seconds and make you laugh. Right now we got Zaria. It's true, actually. I mean, there was... even at SummerSlam, there was like footage of wrestlers arriving. And, we saw endless wrestlers kind of with their bag walking up to their poster, sort of looking at it and nodding, sort of like, let's go, I'm ready type. And they were all doing that. And then it cut to Chelsea. She was on the back of a scooter thing, one of those carts. She was on the back of that. She told the driver to stop, right? Stop. Got off, like, look at me, I'm on the poster. Got back onto the car and was like, go. And I don't think the driver did. So she was like, come on, there was just more to her 20 seconds than there was with a lot of the other people that were arriving for SummerSlam. And you even look at something like that and you're like, well, if that's not everything, if that's not everything right there, that kind of sums up why people love her. Because you can give her 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 seconds, and she just absolutely makes the most of it. So, you know, it's a big lesson, isn't it, to a lot of talent? It's a big lesson to a lot of people out there that are trying to get stuff over. You're gonna get opportunity. You might not get as much opportunity as you want, but when you do get it, you gotta knock it out the park. You gotta knock it out the park. Wren takes over Zaria to no joy. Clothesline there by Zaria. Wren goes down. We said these two could work quite hard and put on something quite fun. I feel like that hard work is starting to come through now. Looking for the final wrench. Not getting it. Zaria drives her against the ropes. Spear there by Zaria. Wren goes down. That was a big spear as well. No, we do not need this nonsense. Just as this match is like, okay, we're finally getting there. What? So that was a sick crossbody, actually, though. Sick crossbody there. Drop kick by Wren. Cutler goes to the outside. Zaria is going to pick up Wren. F5. Zaria gets it. Hard fought match. And it's all down to the Dark State Clowns getting involved, ruining what was just building up to be like a real... That was a sick crossbody, though, by Saquon. Crossbody to Dion. They both went spilling to the outside. That dude really wants to touch her hand. He's like... So Saquon and Dion were fighting. They would end up getting in the ring. As a result, Zaria would pick up the victory. Would you be surprised if Raina was in the Rumble? I would. Well, I mean, I would right now. I don't know where we'll be with her in like 4 or 5 months. But, you know, if the Rumble was soon, I would be very surprised that she was in it. Yeah. She's had like 1 match, hasn't she? Okay. Here's Shiloh. He's got some good news. Well, there we go. Shiloh is recovering at a miracle rate. I feel like this is who he is as a person. And so we're sort of showing it because this is who he is. Okay, here's Mason Rook. Shining Wizard said the Rumble is a long way away. We've got plenty of time to post annoying predictions after Zilla arrives. Oh, I think Zilla's in. Zilla will be in. Zilla will be in the Rumble. He'll probably win it, actually. He'll come in at number 0. He'll be the first ever number 0, and he's going to win the Rumble. Right. Shiloh is going to test poisons on mice and rats. Listen, whatever floats your boat. I'm not here to judge. Okay, Mason Rook making his way down. Get your thoughts in for Wren, Zaria. I actually thought it was starting to get somewhere, and annoyingly, right at the moment that Dark State decided that they'd kind of ruin a bit more of this show. Video watcher said I had to mute that TikTok video from Shiloh. Alex said Mason seems to be growing the mullet back. He's a big Dirty Dom fan. Bryn said, yes, Shiloh is big conspiracy theorist. I would think Daze would like stuff like this, said Shaquem. Yeah, probably, because he waffles. I just find that he kind of obviously just goes off and, I don't know, it just doesn't grab me. I'm struggling to find a way. Do you know, I think part of it is because this fog nonsense that he keeps coming up with, I find him to be very unfocused. And actually, I wonder if that's the character. I find his character to be unfocused. I mean, like, 1 minute he's doing comedy matches with, like, Skylar Ray around Christmas time, and then he's kind of getting into, like, a feud, and he's, like, goofing around with Tristan about being Mr. NXT. And then we're doing, like, posing and, like, you know, trying to figure out who Mr. NXT is. And then we're doing a match where we're going under the ring and Shiloh's like, follow the fog or something. Where's that come from? What the hell's that about? And I just find that he's all over the place, which could be the character, could be totally what they're going for, but it just doesn't resonate with me. You know, with Bray, you knew where he was, where he stood. You knew kind of what he was building, what he was working on. With Shiloh, I just find him to be absolutely all over the road. I don't know if I'm getting a serious segment that I'm meant to find spooky. I don't know if I'm getting a comedy segment that I'm meant to be laughing at. I don't know. And then I tune into that and he's just going off about how he's done deep dives into things and he's talking about mountains and fog. And I'm like, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that there's something there. I mean, there's definitely something there. This is not how I would be using him, though. I think I'd just get him into a darker place. If you want him to go into a darker place, have him go into that darker place. But if you're going to put him into a darker place, I wouldn't put him into, like, comedy segments. Yeah, I don't know. I'm finding him hard to pin down, but that might be the point. That could be the exact vibe they're going for. It's ADHD, said King. It could be that. Maybe that's the character. ADHD. Yeah, the only thing I know is that it's not massively grabbing me at the moment. It could. When we actually start digging, once he's back and we start digging into something, it could start grabbing me. But at the moment, I just find it to be flipping all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised if Shiloh looks into just the most random shiz in real life, said Alex. Do you know one of the worst, one of the first, not worst, one of the first times I ever saw him, he was programming a computer online. He had a robot. I remember seeing him and he was programming this robot and he was like taking it for walks and all this. And it was before he'd even debuted in NXT. I don't even know if he'd featured on LFG at that point. But there was like a wrestling account that had retweeted him, which is why I saw it. And it was him just talking about conspiracy theories whilst also he was talking about how he'd programmed this robot and he was worried because it was starting to do some stuff that he hadn't asked it to do. So, I mean, yeah, from the very first time I've seen the guy, he's been in that kind of a place. Here's Cam Hendrix. I do like this thing that he does. There you go. I like his music as well, actually. Go time. Go time. Okay. Cam Hendrix. There's no way Cam is ready for this, says Vic. We're underway. Mason with a big forearm. Actually, don't mind the hair for Mason so much. Do you remember when it had like the blonde sort of highlights on it? It hasn't got that now. Side is shaved. I think it could still look better than it does, but I think it looks better than it has looked. Look at the big man in there as well. Yeah, the crowd are like into it. The big is bad. He'll body slam your dads. Proper heavyweight in there. Look at the height of Cam Hendrix. Mason Rook. Look at the height. Effortless. Bang. Mason against that rope. Hendrix hurling Mason into that middle turnbuckle. Shots coming in there by Cam. Okay, they've got me. You know, I'm actually into this already. Where are we time-wise? We've got about 50-odd minutes left in this week's episodes. Clothesline there by Cam. Cam again charging in. Boom, another big clothesline. Oh, another big shot. Down goes Mason, looking for the cover kick out. Elbow drop. Kick coming into the side of the head there by Cam. Another shot there by Cam. Chop coming in there by Mason. Chopping away. Against the ropes. Mason. Oh, Cam did really well there. He actually had Mason up and then boom, drove him down into a spine buster. Let's go. Okay, driven down into the mat. And again, Cam Hendrix in control. Mason getting driven into the ring mat. Cam in control, grabbing the hair. He's got Mason again. Mason, elbow to the midsection. Cam feeling that big boot coming in. Charging over. Kick. Shot there by, and again, Mason going down. This good work here by Cam. He's in control. Let's go Mason is the chant. Bang, another big shot. Forearm. Down goes Hendrix. Hendrix going over to the corner. Back elbow there by Mason. Lovely. Look at that by the big man. Lovely. Enziguri kick into a crossbody. He's got him in the corner. Big splash. Over the other side goes Cam. Follows it over. Collides into him. Scoops him up. He's going to look to slam him down. And he does. Looking for a senton. Senton by the big man. Mason shaking the ropes. All fired up. Crowd are loving it. Mason going over. Grabbing Cam Hendrix. Cam Hendrix going for a ride. German suplex. Goes over the other side. That top turnbuckle's come off. Top turnbuckle's come off. That's been yeeted into the crowd. Blue Thunder Bomb. Oh, mate. I actually would have quite liked that to have been the finish, you know. Blue Thunder Bomb and Cam Hendrix gets put away. I would have liked Right now, Mason goes into that exposed turnbuckle. Into the exposed turnbuckle. That's going to be a big, big problem for Mason. Cam Hendrix, 1, 2, 3, gets it. Hendrix gets it thanks to that exposed turnbuckle. Cam Hendrix picks up the win. It's obviously a bit protected. Okay, we're backstage with Vanity Project. Oh, we're running this back. Vanity Project want their rematch. Oh, did we just hear from Micah? Okay, so is this going down at Heatwave? Okay, Miles might be wrestling twice at Heatwave. Okay. Okay, Price taking on Lexis King next. Okay, so if Jackson wins his match against Shiloh, then Miles has agreed to put his championship on the line. Same night that they're going to be defending those tag titles. So that is the pitfall, isn't it, of being a double champ. The people who have got insomnia or sleeping issues, this show is a great way to put you to sleep. When it was black and gold, it wouldn't put you to sleep then, said Gianni. Watch Lucien win here, said Alex. He should have to wrestle twice. He's got the 2 titles. Fair is fair, says Robbie. The frat boys missed their tea time at the country club, said Video Watcher. How are they not building up Mason Rook, said K-Dub. Well, they've got him on TV. They've got him in a match. He's obviously lost because of an exposed turnbuckle. I'm sure it's going to set up a rematch. I'm sure that this is just like a feud, you know, that's going to keep rumbling, which is fine. To be honest, I think Cam and Mason are quite interesting as a feud. So I'm sure it sets up more. So Vanity Project want their titles back. Stone is giving them a deal. Jackson gets a one-on-one match. If he wins, he'll get a North American Championship match. Smokes and Baylor will get tag title shots at Heatwave. He's going to have to beat Shiloh in order to trigger all of that. I don't quite understand how that works. Why does Jackson have to beat Shiloh? Is that a number one? I mean, I could understand if it was a number one contenders thing, but I don't really understand why that triggers the tag title opportunity. Sure. Yeah, fine. It just makes that match next week a bit more interesting. Although I can't see how Jackson doesn't win it. I know they're trying to push Mason, but he looks trans to me, and I'm not impressed, said D. Cran. What you hear a lot of criticism of is his size, which I really push back on. Carl said, Daze, if Octagon Jr. returned at the Royal Rumble from injury, do we think we get Octagon Jr. versus Dominic, says Carl. If Octagon Jr. returns at the Rumble, do we think we get Octagon Jr. Dominic? I don't know if Dominic will be champion by then. I would imagine El Grande is going to stand a really good chance of getting that championship. Did you have to... Days, I'm thinking of moving to Hammond, Indiana. Oh, well, we'll have someone joining us soon that can help you make that decision if you are really thinking about it. We'll have someone joining us from the Hammond, Indiana tourist department. Done more for tourism in that part of the world than anyone else. Rapture said, did we see Leon signing with WWE? I would think so, unless AEW come in. Could we see him being the only men's NXT wrestler in a Rumble next year? Not really. We've not used an NXT wrestler in the Rumble for a couple of years. I don't know why they would make an exception just to put Leon in. So I wouldn't expect him to be in. All Mason has done is lose since arriving. It's not the best start to his WWE career, says Wrestle Rants. I forgot we had Octagon Jr. Dominic at Money in the Bank, said it's Bryn again. Would you have Zilla debut tonight in NXT? Yes, because then we don't have to keep talking about it. So yes, bring him in as soon as possible. Get him going. Give the fans what they want. They want Zilla. Get him out there now. End the show with him. And also, if we did that, it would really help me with my thumbnail. That would be a big, big boost. Here's Birthright. Birthright making the way down. So, Lexis. Days, do we think Tommy will get a new girlfriend before Helen gets a new boyfriend? Well, I think they're both moving on, aren't they? So, I think he's gone and got his stuff, hasn't he? And seemingly that's it. Yeah, I actually reached out to him and I was like, "Have you really, or is this a bit for the pod?" And he was like, "No, we have actually split up." And I was like, I can't be honest, I thought it was a bit for the pod. I really at first thought it was just like we're having a, she's gone away with the girls and he's, decided to stop round his folks and he's just, he's having a bit of fun. And she'll come back and then he'll be like, yeah, we got back together. But he was like, no, we have actually broke up. And I was like, damn, man, I should not have been saying half the stuff that I've been saying. I want people to know that I genuinely did not believe that they'd actually broken up, which is why I was quite happy to banter him and have a bit of fun. Because that's what I thought was happening. And then I reached out to him and was like, no, we have actually broke up. And I'm like... So, don't be shocked if you don't hear me really talking about it much anymore. He hasn't asked me to stop. But, do you know what I mean? I think we've all been through breakups. They're rough. They're rough. And certainly if you've lived with the person as well, I mean, you picture your life going one way and now all of a sudden it changes. So, do you know what? Fair play to him, actually. Never once has he told me to, like, can we back off on that or can we dial that down? He's never said that to me ever. But I might just start doing it myself now, actually, because the situation isn't quite what I thought it was. Shot coming in there by Lexis. Chop coming in. Daisy's like, I've been a horrible person. Yeah, I know. I tell you the other thing as well is, like how I kept like hating on Helen and everything. Obviously, I've never met her, so I don't know her. I sort of just presumed that she would come on and, there'd be a bit of a confrontation. I sort of presumed that, it would lead somewhere. I didn't know where it would go, but I just sort of presumed, like, something will come of it. And now nothing will. So what's happened is I've been, like, nasty to a girl, horrible to a girl, and there's going to be no payoff. Nothing's going to come of it. So I don't really feel brilliant about that either, if I'm being honest. Stumped there by Lexis. So really, I'm the victim of this breakup. Lexis going for the cover there on Lucien. Lucien kicks out. Lexis again. Working on the arm of Lucien. Lucien out there on his own. He's having to deal with Birthright, who are at ringside. Lexis driving his... Yeah. Yeah, he is actually busted. There is blood coming out of his chest from how vicious that chop was. Look at it. Look at the bloods. That's crazy, isn't it? Actually busted open from a chop. I mean, to be honest, it did sound like a gunshot in my headphones. And if I'm Lexis King, I'm just praying that he doesn't chop me again. He might get absolutely busted open. Powerbomb there. If I'm Lexis, I'm like, please don't chop me. Please don't chop me. Please. Okay, clothesline. Fine. Please don't chop me. Please don't chop me. Kick coming in. Down goes Lexis. Lucien chucking Lexis over. Coming in. Kick coming in. Lexis. Crossbody. 1, 2. Oh, Lucien sits up. Stares at the camera. That's sick. That's sick. He's bang. I love that death stare at the camera. It's Lucien. What's Lucien? Lucien's grabbing my attention. Big time. Vicious chop. Busting Lexis open. Mean mugging the camera. Lexis with Lucien. Lucien. Headbutt. Down goes Lexis. Lucien throwing in a shot. Stacks goes down. Duck underneath. He's picking up Lexis. Bah! Slamming him down. 1, 2. Wow, Lucien gets it. Lucien gets it. Mean mugs. They've told him to do that. He's done it during the match and he's done it straight after the match as well. Wow. Good. I wonder if OTM are on a path towards separate him. Okay. Good 95 for Cam Mason. What did you think about Lucien versus Lexis? OTM. Okay, there's... Oh, yeah, there was a free agent, wasn't there, last week? It's going to be Zilla. It's going to be Zilla. It's going to be blooming Zilla. What, first week in the park? Rank UCC. Okay, he was like on the phone to someone. I can't stop thinking about that bit. I'm still interested. I've been calling you back. I am still interested. Okay. Zilla coming out to interfere in the main event would genuinely make me laugh out loud, said Alex. Well, Alex, get ready to laugh. It's happening. Zilla's coming. Listen, if you can't beat them, you join them. I am fully aboard the Zilla train now. He's coming. every show it's happening. He's coming in and he's going to be joining Birthright. Because he is a second, third, fourth, 50th generation wrestler. He's going to come in and he's going to be the leader of Birthright. He's going to hang around with Stax, Ariana Grace, Uriah Connors, Lexis King. This is his new crew. They're going to go to the main roster in 5 years. Going to take on what's left of the bloodline. It's probably still going to be Roman and the bloodline on top. So they're going to go after those guys. It's going to be Birthright, Bloodline, 2030, 2031. Listen, it's happening. We're on that path. If he does arrive and the commentators don't say his name, that'll be a good indicator of a name change. It happened with Blake, Santana, and Ricky, said Robbie. He's going to join El Grande as El Zilla Samano. Called it. You've called it. I feel like Daze, if he's going to debut tonight, I feel it, says Nick. Feel it. Keep feeling it. It's coming. It's coming. You literally heard it here first. No one else has ever spoke about Zilla apart from us tonight on this channel. Right here, right now. He's going to come out. He's going to murk Cruz Montana. Grayson's going to win. Cruz Montana's going to lose. And that's going to bring Zilla in. His mum is live on his channel and he's not there. He was at the Performance Center. They're putting the Speed title and the North American title together. What the flip, said Spiller. Well, I can only imagine it's the end of the Speed belt. I can only imagine that's it. If they are unifying them, then it's got to be end of the road, isn't it? Women's North American Speed Championship. Oh, I think it'll just be the end of the Speed Championship. I don't think they'll make the North American belt the Speed. People don't really rate it. They just don't care for the Speed stuff. So to kind of lose your mid-card belt, can't see it. It's a bit like when they unified the NXT and the NXT UK championships. We just basically lost the NXT UK championships. So I'd imagine it's probably bye-bye to the women's speed belt. Here's Carmen. Yeah! Carmen said, Daze, I went to the American Legion. Post 100 in Lake Station, Indiana. I went to go and see ARW Pro Summer Games Part 2. Did you see Part 1, Carmen? How did you know what was happening if you never saw Part 1? Did you see Part 1? I wonder if EK is going to win the AAA title. I believe he was supposed to fight for Kingo. The AAA title. I don't know. I mean, they've probably ended up going down a different path, haven't they now? So he's an excellent talent, though. I mean, what's next for him is he's going to be in that Fatal 4-Way. He's in the Fatal 4-Way. Winner of that will face Ray Phoenix. So that seems to be next for him. Here's Thea and Jada. Okay, sit down. I'm going to be real with you. No disrespect. I got you. I got you, Thea. I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. Thea says she hasn't had a friend in a while. Okay, here's Noam. Here's Romeo. All right, Romeo's got the opportunity. He's going to be in the match. We're a team, says Romeo. Okay, so Noam's like, nah, go for it. It's a great opportunity for you. Here's Tristan. Oh, there we go. Tristan's the other one. Tristan, Romeo, La Parker, EK Prosper. That's the four-way. Okay, there we go. Romeo in the fatal four-way. Noam should go to Raw and fight Ethan, said Jam Quick. Okay, where are we? 24 minutes. That's where we are. Why put a main event so early in the breakdown? I thought you'd forgot about the rest of the show. Yeah, I just think that I kind of have been thinking a bit about the breakdowns, and I've just been thinking a little bit about, like, people clicking on the thumbnail. So, you know, you kind of go big with the thumbnail, like, this is the big talking point. But it's normally at the end, isn't it? If you think about it, like, the big talking point was Solo losing. So I just thought it would make more sense to kind of get the whole Solo story at the start. So if you saw the thumbnail, click on the video, here's what you clicked for, yeah? This is the bit you wanted. I don't even know if it makes sense from a video point of view, because it probably makes more sense to make people wait till they, you know, till the end of the video. But I just thought it made more sense. I sort of feel like with the thumbnail being, you know, like a big focus, I kind of need to get to that quicker. So, you know, I don't even know what the thumbnail will be for tonight, but I'd like to try and get to the talking point rather than just here's the show as it happened, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's the right way of doing it or not, but I sort of feel like if you saw the thumbnail and you saw it was something to do with Solo, I think you're clicking on the video because you want to hear about Solo. Do you want to have to go through the Penta match and the Becky and Stephanie segment? Do you know what I mean? Until you get to. So I was just trying to. I was trying to get the content to match the thumbnail better. Here's Mike Santana. Main event time coming out. I still don't know what the thumbnail is going to be for tonight, to be honest. Okay, Tony is making his way down. I'm guessing, is he going to be sat on commentary? Yeah, he's going to be ringside. Ratcher said, I would say it's more akin to Carmelo beating Roderick Strong for a cruiserweight title, unifying it with a North American title, says Rapturous. It's going to be Zilla sticking his tongue out as the thumbnail said, like, well, it will be if he makes his presence felt. Yes. Jared said Zilla will be the thumbnail. Mate, there'll be no doubt about that whatsoever. But again, if that is the thumbnail, then I'll try and lead with it. So, yeah, I'd love it if it is. I think probably what's about to go down in the next 20 minutes probably does stand a really good chance of being the thumbnail, yeah. If Zilla doesn't debut tonight or NXT on Tuesday, do we think he'll debut at Heatwave? Well, I wouldn't rule him out being on the main roster. I personally don't think he goes main roster, but there's been many occasions, I mean, I say many, a few, where WWE have done things that I wouldn't have done, right? More than a few, if I'm being honest. So, you know, I wouldn't put him straight onto the main roster. I think this is someone that WWE have looked at and haven't really fancied, haven't really gone for. You know, they could have had him years ago when people were talking about him years ago. We've heard Zilla's name mentioned for years and years. You know, he's been on our radar for years and years. This is not someone we found out about a month ago. So, you know, they could have had him, really, and, you know, they haven't gone for him, and he's been working hard to try and get to WWE, and now they feel like he's reached the standard. I think it's a hard argument to say that now he goes straight to the main roster. I do think he goes NXT first, but someone's going to make the decision, aren't they? Someone somewhere is going to make the decision of what, now we've signed him, what do we do with him? And that person could make the decision, listen, we'll put him up on the main roster, you know. He can go in the deep end, he'll have his family around him. We'll use him in some tag matches, you know, and we'll just kind of work with him that way. I mean, Braun Strowman went straight to the main roster. He didn't do much in NXT. He did a few house shows, but he didn't do much in NXT. But because of his size and his presence, they didn't want to mess around. They just had him go straight to the main roster. So, I mean, it's not impossible that he rocks up on SmackDown or Raw or Sunday night's main event. But yeah, I mean, I must admit, it's going to be more Tuesdays and, you know, NXT shows where I'll probably be expecting him until he eventually shows. So it's not impossible for him to go straight to the main roster, but it's just not what I'm expecting. Zilla's going to be coming more than Via, said James. Zilla won't debut. He's live on YouTube watching with his mother, says Carr. Someone mentioned he wasn't with his mother, so I'm not sure what's happening there. I would be surprised if they signed him and then he debuted all within the same. So, I don't know. He was there earlier today. Does that mean they're ready to go with him and that's it? We're up and running? I don't know. All I know is get ready for a lot of Zilla conversation until he debuts. If you thought it was bad before, it's definitely getting worse now. If you say his name, then he appears. Is Zilla's mom debuting, say Chris? Yeah, she's coming in as well. It's very exciting. It's the first mother and son combo that WWE have signed at the same time. It's very exciting. Have we ever had, outside of, say, Linda, a mother and a son? Is there like a super obvious one that I'm forgetting or something? A mother and a son both competing in WWE at the same time? I don't think there is there? It's not one I can recall. Apart from Linda and Shane. Here is Cruz coming through the crowds. Cruz, I've got to get used to saying that name. Cruz, Montana. So, coming over to a guy there, having a few words. If Zilla doesn't show up, still put him on the thumbnail. Good shout. And then we'll start the video by going big news. Zilla's signed. That means he's going to be making his presence felt. Probably in NXT, but it wasn't this week. Anyway, moving on to the rest of the show. The new music isn't bad, said Tribal List. Robbie said, Daze, are we forgetting about Buff and Judy Bagwell? WCW. It's a good shout. Here's Grayson. Did Booker just call him Cruz Mike? Oh, I didn't hear. Okay, here's Grayson. Okay, main event coming up then. We need to end our poll. Okay, we are underway. Let's end our poll, shall we? Okay. Good 93 for Lucien Price and Lexis King. Shot coming in there by Grayson. Tony said, I don't know why you would listen to what this guy has got to say. Okay, over in the corner. Montana going for the cover on Grayson. Grayson kicks out. Doesn't even get a 1 count. Shot coming in there by Grayson. Montana in the corner. Again, some back elbows coming in there by Grayson. 13 minutes left to go. Over they go. Drop kick. Montana in the corner. Looking for a suplex. No joy. Shot coming into the midsection. Bang. Suplex. Grayson going for the cover. No joy. The official cake verdict. Yankees for Cake City 1. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it means. Forearm shot coming in there by Cruz. Kick coming in there by Grayson. Cruz going into the corner. Over the other side goes Grayson. Big boots. Double axe handle. Grayson in control, just having a pop at the crowds. Shot coming in. Next week we got Natty against Thea. So that match is going down next week. Grayson. Tony said, part of me wants to wrestle Grayson just so I can smack him in his mouth. Chop coming in there by Cruz. Grayson going over the other side. Another chop coming in there by Cruz. Crowd making a bit of noise here. The crowd are into this. Going up, going over. Grayson goes down, gets caught. He's going to go for a ride. Into the corner. Working on the arm. Bang. Down he goes. Sense arm. Okay. The only other people I could think of are Shouting and his mom, but I wouldn't be sure if that counts, said Raptures. No, I was thinking WWE, and I was thinking, you know, like Ray Dominic. both of them wrestling. I don't think we have. Cruz on the commentary table after Grayson just went over it. Okay, NXT chants breaking out as we go to commercial break. Right. Santana D'Angelo would bang, said William. Please, God, make it happen. Zilla debut tonight, said Nick. Okay, right now they're fighting around the ringside area. Cruz chasing after... What's that guy doing? Got a bit of that going on in the crowds. That guy is really excited, isn't he? Really excited. Back in the ring goes Grayson. I mean, I've never gone to the wrestling and been like... Big clothesline there by Grayson. Down goes Cruz. Cruz on the outside. Grayson going over, grabbing him. Tony still on commentary. Trash talking Grayson. Oh, into the edge of the ring goes Cruz. Grayson says, I run NXT. Eddie Kingston did a sit-down interview. He was talking about how he was crapping his pants with a wet fart that slipped, said Big Time. That is regrettable. In a corner goes Cruz. He goes down. Rapture said, I'm not a member, but I would suggest a wrestling theme song battle tournament with members only. Double axe handle. You were slapping air with that dance, said Benito. We were committed. Do we think the mask guy will face Psycho Clown at AAA Heatwave? I don't know. I mean, like, it feels like a direction. Obviously, a feud that's coming. But how quickly we're going to get to that? I mean, we could have this person, you know, keep popping up, being in the shadows. As we said earlier, AAA takes its stories quite slow. So it might not be as quick as that. It could all lead to some, you know, Slammiversary. I don't even know if that guy's on his own. Grayson stomping down on Cruz. Do we see Tony being out by the end of the year, or could it be next year? I think it would probably be next year. I don't think there's a need for Tony at the moment on the roster. If anything, I think most people would agree we need to, you know, really work on the people that are up there. So I don't really see a need for him. I can't really make an argument for him to come up at the end of this show. Big superplex. The best part were the reactions from everyone that was involved in that promo, said Alex. Riz is doing interviews in Evolve. She is, yeah, she's the interviewer in Evolve now. She's still working her way back from knee surgery, I think, says Pat. Okay, we're right back into this. We've got 7 minutes to go. There's a shot coming in there by Cruz. Grayson being driven back. He's got, against the ropes, down he goes. Cruz coming back up to his feet. Backing in the corner, moves out the way. Grayson comes into the corner. Insecurity kick. Against the ropes, big knee. No joy up on the shoulders. Gets driven down there by Cruz. Grayson against the ropes. Big forearm. Grayson over the other sides. Cruz with a leapfrog. Oh, that was nice. Driven down. 1, 2. Shoulder up there by Grayson. That was nice. Against the ropes. Caught him as he leaped up. Okay, both guys are down at the moment. Right now we got Cruz on his knees. Grayson trying to get back up. Has the Riz still got her accent when she does the interviews? She does, yeah. She does. Against the ropes. Grayson down. Oh, lovely. Into a stunner and shoulder up there by Grayson. Cruz. You can see a girl in the background. She's like, oh my God. She really thought that Cruz had it there. Yeah, shoulder up. Tony said this is a hard-hitting match. Crowd on their feet. Grayson down. Cruz looking for the beginning of the ends. We're into the final 5. Charging over. Grayson just collapses down. Moves out the way. Cruz comes over. Big boot. Grayson goes down to the outside. Cruz is going to go over the top. Against the ropes. No, gets caught. Waller catches him. Waller is going to go through. Roll through. Bang. Flatliner 2. Oh, that was close. That was real close. Grayson going through. Hitting that flatliner. Okay, Grayson. On his knees. Which way is this going to go? Which way is this going to go? Chop coming in there by Grayson. Boot coming in as well. Grayson grabbing Cruz. Cruz going for the pin one. No joy. Back elbow there by Cruz. Grayson in the corner. Big boot. Down he goes. Going over. Oh, my God. He just stomped him. Back of that. He jumped up. Oh, my God. He jumped up and, like, kicked him in the back of the head, but drove the head down. Look at the replay of that. Oh. That's like a super curb, isn't it? He's just curbed him from a standing position. That was a pretty sick moment. That was a pretty sick moment. Right now, Grayson going back to the corner. He's kind of going up on that middle rope. And lovely elbow. That's lovely. Just had a lovely flight there. Delivered the elbow. Big stomp coming in. Very smooth in the air. Going on that middle rope. Gets caught. Driven back in the corner. Cruz has got him up. Chop coming in there by Cruz. He's going up. He's climbing up again. Looking for a superplex. No joy. Grayson on the outsides. We're getting down to the final 2 minutes. Grayson looking to do it again. Coming in. Murked! Murked! So he's down in the ring, It's Zilla! It is Zilla! It is Zilla! Zilla's in the ring! Zilla's in the ring! Oh my God! He's here! He is here! He is here! He's in the ring right now. He lays him out. Big moment! Big moment! Wow! Wow! Crowd are going crazy! Crowd are going crazy. Fatu chants are breaking out right now. He just came in from the crowds. Oh my! I've got my thumbnail. And he's here as well. We don't have to keep talking about it. Oh my God! This is like all my birthdays and Christmases have come at once, and I'm not even a Zilla fan. We don't have to hear about him anymore. He's actually here. Oh, I love you. I've heard his name for years. Fatu, the game has changed. I've got my thumbnail. Oh my God. Zilla has arrived. The game has changed. Let's go. Let's get this. We need a very... I don't even know what this means. What does that mean for the match? Another one. Another injection of main roster... Not main roster, but top-end talent there. For the men's division. The men's division needs it. It needed it. It's got it. A boost. That was sick as well. The way that all played out was so sick. And I don't know what the flip was going on with people saying he was streaming with his mom, but if he has been doing that, then he's obviously managed to swerve people and like throw people off the scent, which good for him. Good for him. The irony of him teasing that he's going to show up and then not actually ever showing up, but then actually finding a way of making it seem like, yeah, I can't on this occasion. I'm streaming with my mom, and then that's the occasion he shows up. Why are they wasting him in catering, said Shining Wizards. We need Mr. Iguana in NXT. Happy Zilla Day, said Neil. I think his name is going to be Zilla Fatu. It said it on his shirts. Good point. Zilla's family are crying in the live stream, said TGF. Yeah, well, I bet they're just happy it's over as well. I'd imagine they've had people asking them all the time, when's he showing up, when's he showing I mean, I'm sure they're proud as well. But I'd imagine quite high on their agenda is having people shut up about it, you know? Zilla's coming in. Zilla's going. He'll be at this show. He'll be. You watch. He'll be here. He'll be at the end of the show. For like 3 years, we've had to put up with that. No more. No more. He looks good. I mean, what I will say, he's got a nice size to him. He just absolutely murked both of those that were in NXT in that main event. I don't know what it means for the match, though. Not that it massively matters. But, yeah, he's just gone in and absolutely murked Grayson and... I didn't hear what the commentator said. But he's just got in there and murked Cruz and Grayson. Okay, get your thoughts in about that main event. Do the thumbnail. Yeah, should I do the thumbnail and not put Zilla on? How about that? How about that? How about I put Kalani on because she's got a title match coming up. She managed to secure that tonight. I feel like that's the big talking point. Congratulations to Kalani on making it for the thumbnail. It's a big achievement. I wonder how Grayson feels now that he's conjured up Zilla after calling the locker room softs. It's a good point. It's a good point. Okay, let's end this poll because we definitely have got a breakdown to do. Hey, thank God that we started the breakdowns again. Flipping, last week we said goodbye to Lola, and now this week we're saying hello to Zilla. It's almost like I knew. But I didn't. So it's just wonderful timing that two massive things have happened 2 weeks in a row. So, yeah, we're going to go and do the breakdown. Appreciate everyone joining us. Jojo said, did Zilla show up? No. No, Zilla, no. We'll have to wait next week, Jojo. But, yeah, awesome. Appreciate it. I'll see you in a moment for the breakdown. Bye for now.